spot or the story yesterday at the same time, we should just replay it for you right now because I love it. I was actually mad at myself for not replaying it in yesterday's show. I just threw this curveball at Paulie. He was not prepared for this. But I got a production order to do a spot for an appearance I'm doing on Saturday. By the way, Ben is out today, in case you didn't notice. He's golfing in Arizona. Impeccable timing, as usual. He's really something.
So we had the trade deadline in 2021.
Yeah. There was more, though. There's always, every time he goes somewhere, something major happens.
He was gone when Xander signed.
He was gone. Yeah, the next day.
He took, when was Hawaii? He had 2 Hawaii trips within like 3 weeks of each other.
Yeah, it was like 6 weeks, but yeah.
And
a bunch of major
I know
stuff
something happened there.
No question.
This guy.
It's not even his fault. Like he said, he strategically planned this.
Now, selfishly, I don't like anything that's happening with the Padres right now. I don't like anything that's happening over the last few weeks.
It's not fun.
It's pretty good content, though.
It's very good content. And
we have not struggled to plan a show.
No, not at all.
So maybe every few months, Ben needs to just plan another vacation because we'll have something to talk about.
Something major will happen. But, we in this job, and we did this exact same thing yesterday. I just want to replay it again because I was thinking about it all day. Got the email from the big boss who took this spot that Paulie created and sent it to the sales staff. I'll tell you what he told them. But basically, I got an order to do a spot for an appearance. And it said in the order, make it spooky. And I don't know what that meant.
Put your own spin on it. Make it spooky.
That whole thing of like put your own spin on it is a tough thing and make it spooky. That's not what I do. Like that's not. If I have an appearance, I'm like, all right, I'll be out here from noon to 2. Come see me. We'll shake some hands, whatever. But I said, all right, being the smartass that I am, I said, Paulie, let's do it's really spooky. And I'll do the audio, and then you put some stuff on top of it. This is what Paulie came up with.
Don't be scared. I just want to play a game with you.
Hello, my pretties. It's Woodsy here. Don't miss the Halloween spectacular from my friends at Sedano Ford this Saturday, October 28th, from noon to 2.
Sedano Ford.
I'll be there with the 97.3 The Fan Street Team.
Behind you.
Along with many other local radio and TV stations.
That's weird.
Giving out prizes, concert and amusement park tickets.
I am right behind you.
And of course, tons and tons of candy. Bring the family. Don't miss the spooktacular celebration at Sedano Ford in La Mesa from noon to 2.
Sedano Ford.
This Saturday, October 28th. I'll see you there.
If you don't come play with me, then we will kill you.
Check them out online as well, SedanoFord.com. SEDANO Ford.com. I don't know, what's he? 97.3 The Fan saying?
If you don't come play with me, I will kill you.
We'll kill you.
We'll kill you is what the spot said. So he sent it to.
If you don't come play with me, then we will kill you.
He asked for he asked for it. And he said, send it to me. I'm going to play this in a meeting today for a couple of different reasons.
I don't know if the meeting's happened.
It's going to happen. Maybe today. Maybe the meeting is today or tomorrow. And he said, I'm basically going to play it for them for a few reasons. Number one, don't send them stuff like make it spooky, right? Like that's not really what they do. Number two, this is what you get with Ben and Woods. It's going like they didn't get paid extra. They just did this on their
Ford
own.
Did not pay us extra for a whole segment.
A whole segment about it, right?
But you sign on with Ben and Woods.
This is what you get.
This could happen.
You never know. You never know what you're going to get with this program. But it's great to be with you guys this morning. As I mentioned, Benjamin is out. And like Paulie said, there's no shortage of things to talk about. It's not super positive, to be honest with you. It's not. And
I did not have a good day yesterday.
Yesterday was not a good day for so many reasons. Listen to what happened to me yesterday. The perfect storm, and things have been going really well. For me, in us, but just speaking for myself, Mentally, I've been doing really great. Physically, I've been doing really great. I've been feeling good. I've been feeling strong. All of that stuff. Yesterday was probably the first day where the curveballs kept coming. And it just hits you all at once. And this was wild. This happened to me yesterday. So if you'll remember, the A.J. Preller press conference with the media, the Zoom, the newest and latest rendition of A.J. Preller's Zoom meetings.
Weeks.
Yeah, been a couple weeks. Another embarrassing scene for the Padres happened yesterday as Bob Melvin did his press conference to accept the San Francisco Giants managerial position. We'll talk about that, play some of his audio as well. But so 12 o'clock is when this happened. We get off the air at 10. I had to meet my wife at a credit union at 11. Bo is on fall break, so Bo had to come along. We're buying out the lease on my car because I went 75,000 miles over what the lease said.
A lot of miles.
Leasing a car is the dumbest idea I've ever had. It's not for me. I need to buy a car, and that's it. So we have to go to the credit union, sign some documents and paperwork, and et cetera, et cetera. So I haul ass from here. I get there right at 11. We go in. We're there for 25, 30 minutes. I take Bo home. We go home. I've got 30 minutes until the press conference with A.J. Preller starts, okay? Go to the fridge. I'm starving. Get my burrito bowl out that I have, and I'm ready to eat that, and then go into the office and do the press conference with A.J. Preller.
I saw your name on the Zoom.
My name was on the Zoom.
But I hadn't spoken to you.
Correct.
I had no idea what was going on behind the scenes.
No one did. And so you get on the Zoom, you mute yourself, and you turn the camera off. That's what I do. Mm-hmm. And so I eat. It takes me about 10 minutes to eat. And all of a sudden, Bo, my 5-year-old, walks over behind me to his fish tank. And he looks at his fish tank, and then he walks around, and he goes all the way around the couch, and he just sits. The TV's off. I can see the back of his head. And I'm finishing up my lunch. It's 11:45.
15 minutes to Zoom.
15 minutes to Zoom. And I said, buddy, what's wrong? And he turns around, and his eyes are filled with tears.
Oh, no.
And I said, what happened? Are you okay? And he said, Dad, I think my fish died. And we've had this fish for a while. Every morning that's their like ritual, Hannah and his, and they feed him and clean the tank and all the stuff that you're supposed to do.
It's like a fish from the fair, like a beta fish.
Yeah, it's a beta fish. We got him at Petco or something, and his name was Fernando Tatis Jr.
Fernando.
And he was a beauty. And he's sitting there, and he looks at me, and his eyes are filled with tears. And I go, what do you mean your fish is dead? He goes, I think he's dead.
He's just sleeping, buddy.
So I walk over, tap on the thing. He's done. He's just not moving. And I go, oh. And I said, oh. So I walk around, give him a big hug. I'm so sorry. Immediately text Hannah. I go, this is a meltdown right now. Mm. And I said, she goes, oh my God, I'm on my way home. I'll be home in 5 minutes. I'm consoling him. Rest in peace, Fernando. Shout out to your family, shout out to our family. Shout out to you, Bo. He was so sad.
Shout out to his family.
Yeah, he is moved on to the great pond in the sky. And I didn't know what to do. I just was loving him, consoling him. He's sobbing. Damn it. So I said, buddy, I love you. I'm so sorry. We can get you a replacement. We'll get you another fish for sure. And that made him a little happy. 11:55, 11:56, 11:57. I go in, I sit down, I got 3 minutes to spare. So I'm sitting at my desk, the Zoom is up, and I am ready, got my pen, my paper, and I'm ready to go. Phone rings. It's the credit union. She says to me, hi, Mr. Woods, I am sending over some time-sensitive documents right now. I need you to sign that, DocuSign them on your computer and send it back. I said, yeah. How much time do I have? She goes, about 5 minutes.
How time sensitive?
She's very, very time sensitive. I go, okay. God. So Bo's in the living room. Hannah has not gotten home yet. So she walks in the door. The phone rings. I answer. The lady says to me, we're going to text you a PIN. Here's the email. Log in and then use the PIN that will text you on your phone. Okay, no problem. Text never comes. So press conference starts. Text hasn't gotten there. So I am on mute. I call her back. Hey, I never got the pin. Oh, hang on.
What if you didn't have your phone on you and you didn't answer and you ran out of those 5 minutes?
I have no idea. You got
to go back and start the whole
thing over again. And so I go, I didn't get the pen. Oh, okay, let me try it again.
That's ridiculous.
So I wait 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Press conference is going on. I'm half listening. Hannah's looking through the glass at me like, what? And I'm like, it's the perfect storm. It's all hitting at once. So I look at her. I go, did you get a pin? She's like, no, I didn't get a pin. I never get the pin. I call back to the lady. I go, she tried it the second time. It didn't work. She goes, you know what? I'll send it this way where you have to scan your ID and that way we can verify you. Okay, no problem. That didn't work. Still asking for a password. So now this press conference is 10, 15 minutes in. I haven't heard a word. I can hear it, but I can't. I'm not paying attention. And I'm like, this is a big one. I need to be.
News. We're going to replay the whole thing at 6:35.
I need to be engaged in this. It was such an S show in my home yesterday. Finally, after about 20 minutes, I found a way to get in, reset the password, got the document signed, sent them over. But I was a wreck. And I logged on, and I'm listening to the press conference. I heard the phrase, yes, man, and my ears perked up. I heard a lot of things in there. AJ doesn't give you much in a presser, right? And we know that. But there were a couple things he said yesterday that made me go, what? What? Really? You didn't micromanage enough? That's what you're basically saying? This was unbelievable to me. So you got to be able to find the little nuggets in the press conference, and I think we did, and we'll talk about it. But, Paulie, I was completely, I guess, unprepared. I mean, there was nothing I could have done, but it all just hit at once. But the moral of the story is I got through it. I went back, picked up some notes, figured it out, and I just went, oh my God, man, it was a total, everything hit right at once within 10 minutes. And get through the press conference and everything was fine. But holy smokes.
So the way, traditionally press conferences in person, you got 40 people sitting in the audience. Raise your hand if you have a question. We'll bring a mic to you. On Zoom, they have the chat feature, and you are told to put your name in the chat. Correct. If you have a question.
Correct.
PR will go down the list and pretty much in order and get to you when we get to your spot. And I saw on the chat, Stephen Woods.
Yeah, I put my name in.
Put your name in there.
So
you were going to ask a question. Then I don't know, 2 minutes later, it said Stephen Woods has left.
Yeah, I left. So
I go, what?
The question I was going to ask, Darnay asked it. And I said, all right, well.
Right in front of you.
So I texted, he was right in front of me.
You were the next person.
Guy. So I texted Craig, the PR guy. I go, never mind. Just got to ask. He goes, lol, LOL, okay. And I'm like, son of a bitch, man. I just, you know what? Some days you just got to shut it down and just say, today wasn't my day. I slept for 30 minutes last night, maybe. I'm as frazzled as I could be, but I will hold it together. We've got a great, great show planned. I'm very excited about today's show because we will be joined at 7:35 by our pal, your pal, Padres fan,
strap in,
CBS chief White House correspondent, Major Garrett, will be on the program at 7:35. He has a new podcast out that I listened to this morning for about 30 minutes. It's called The Spy Next Door. It's riveting.
He's
so
teased
good.
us about it.
Yes.
Last time we spoke with him.
It is out. It slays. He's incredible. I want to talk Padres baseball with him, but I want to talk about this project that he's doing too, that he worked on for 2 years, interviewing a ton of people about a spy, the double life of Robert Hansen. It's unbelievably great because Major Garrett did it, so you know it's good. And then at 8:35, we'll be joined by our pal Eno Saris. A lot to talk about with Eno. Of course, we're going to get into Bob Melvin's press conference with the Giants yesterday. I cannot sit here and tell you that it did not sting watching that yesterday. It absolutely did. I felt embarrassed, mad, sad, the whole bit. We'll talk about that. We'll take your calls. Let's have some fun today with Ben being out. Probably make fun of him multiple times. Tell you about the text he sent us yesterday. He's something else, that kid. I love he's giving us ideas.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it next. I'll read you his text.
I almost texted you.
I was furious.
Immediately.
I was furious about it. Absolutely furious about it. We'll talk about it next.
This guy.
Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Oh, it just guts me. The World Has Turned and Left Me Here by Weezer for our theme of the week for the Daily Ditty. Breakup songs. Sad. The world has turned and left me here. Oh, my God. It just guts me every time I hear it. So good. Well, they played Petco Park recently. Weezer did.
Yeah.
And listen, things with the old baseball club may not be going as well as we would like, Paulie, but they're knocking it out of the park as far as concerts go. So if you're a baseball fan and a music fan like I am, it's
a good place to live.
Two of my greatest passions in the world are baseball and music. This is a fantastic place to live. They just announced this morning. Give me the deets on the Chris Stapleton show.
Well, they announced like 2 days ago Blink 182.
Blink, yeah, we didn't even mention it. Blink's coming back.
I saw them in June at Sports Arena or Pechanga Arena. Now they're playing the stadium tour. They just got the new album out. And then this morning, about 10 minutes ago, got a press release sent on behalf of Live Nation for the Padres. Chris Stapleton is coming to San Diego, coming to Petco Park. The All-American Road Show. He's got a new album coming out in November 10th, so a few weeks away. And then the concert...
that show is this November?
Album comes out in November.
Album comes out in November.
Is March 2nd,
March
2024 at Petco Park. And but it's going to be a hell of a show. Yeah, I have not seen Chris Stapleton. I've heard he puts on a fantastic show.
He definitely sings like he's on the toilet. That's for sure. That's definitely something that he does.
Looking at some of the, he's got different opening acts and special guests throughout the tour. Like this leg will be so and so, and then the next 4 shows will be so.
Who did we get?
We've got. I'm trying to figure. It's very small.
It says El King,
Prince,
El King, and Turnpike Troubadours. I think.
That's who we've got. And I'm looking at some of the other dates. I mean, Sheryl Crow. Marcus King, Willie Nelson.
Don't tell me
Potter.
Don't tell me what we're missing. I just want to know what we're getting because I don't want to be like, well, I wish
George Strait.
I want to go to the George Strait show, but he's not playing here. So
let's see where that one is.
So there you go. I mean, look, that's you got to figure out a way to, as Ben said a couple weeks ago, activate the ballpark when you're not using it to make some money to pay for everything. That's how it goes. I mean, listen, the ball club right now is not giving us a whole hell of a lot to be excited about for the most part. I don't want to come on here today and be just all doom and gloom. It's hard not to. Like, I'm going to tell you how I really feel, and I don't have a lot of hope for next season. At least today, I don't. And as things start to build up and mount, it does feel a bit chaotic. It feels a little bit embarrassing. Padres definitely the butt of more than one joke or two yesterday as Bob Melvin got announced as the new manager of the San Francisco Giants. And I think the thing that popped into my head all day, Paulie, was how did we get here? How did this happen? How did we get here? Why was it so bad? And there's a couple of things that Bob said, certainly, and I looked at it and I went, crap, dude. Like, I hate that you said that. I hate that you said, you always dreamed about managing the Giants. I'm not, listen, like, that's his dream job. Good for him. I guess I also didn't really like the Padres taking the side, and we'll play some of this audio in the next segment. I also didn't really like the Padres, like, we did this out of the goodness of our hearts. Like, this is who we are. We are that
class.
Who are we to stand in the way of a man's dream? Yeah. Like that to me, I was like, come on, man. Like, this job, this city should not be a stepping stone for people to have a little stop at and then move on to the next thing.
And here's the thing. I don't believe that it was. I don't believe that Bob Melvin signed a contract here after leaving Oakland with the intention of leaving for San Francisco after 2 years, one of which went to the NLCS.
Yep.
I think things got so bad for him for whatever reasons that we'll debate all offseason, but I think things got so bad, he said I'm out, and he just happened to land in a dream job. He's always admired.
There's no question. I mean,
would he have left if the Pirates needed a manager?
No,
I don't know.
But I mean, he's not.
Probably not.
He's not from there. He is from. And I get like a lot of things can be true in this, and I have no doubt that he dreamed of returning potentially to the Giants one day. But I also, it's hard for me to wrap my head around. We did this out of the goodness of our heart. Who are we to stand in Bob Melvin's way? That's tough for me to swallow because, again, and I brought up the point yesterday, hey, so did you not think that was potentially could happen at some point when you hired Bob Melvin, right? I want to talk about let's start with Bob next. Let's get into a couple of things he said. I did have to laugh that that man has been around baseball for 50 years and buttoned his jersey incorrectly.
What are we doing?
What, like, not your first time putting on a jersey, my man. He buttoned it. It was crooked. It was crooked.
He only went up to the letters. He didn't get the top buttons, and
he hit the wrong hole.
Button 6 on the right.
Yeah,
it was like with button 4 on the left.
That was so good. I go, oh, that's crooked. That's a crooked. That's a crooked jersey, dude. All right.
He was like, "Oh, we're doing that now. Okay, like just take the extra 5 seconds, get it right.
Get it right." Let's start. Let's start with Bo Mel next. Thank you guys for being here. It's Ben and Woods. We will be right back. We'll do Bo Mel, then we'll do AJ. We'll take your calls too on your thoughts. What you thought about AJ Preller's press conference yesterday. We carried it live here on 97.3 The Fan. Something else. It was something else as usual. We'll be right back. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Thanks for being here this morning. Ben is out. He is in Arizona on a golf vacation.
We have to pay off our tease
crap. You're
about
right.
Ben.
You are right, Paulie.
We talked about it about 20 minutes ago.
He texted us yesterday. So he's on vacation, and Ben's, he's good about, and I want people to check out. I don't need you to, I don't need your help if you go on vacation. And so he did text me. He was very kind. He said, "Hey, Woods, sorry about the fish. Our fish died. Just check Twitter at a pit stop." Then he said, "Sounds like both pressers went about as we predicted." I said, "Yep." And then he said, "We should have played Spooky Sedano again. Play it tomorrow or Friday later in the show." I said, "We're going to."
We got it.
Thank you, radio consultant that never texts us about our show ever until he's gone out of town. So he did. Then he sends us a picture from his room in Arizona that overlooks Topgolf. And I go, that's like when I went to Vegas and I could see the Sphere from my room. It's your own personal sphere looking out at Topgolf. And I think he went last night with his buddy Scott, get a little warmed up before. I'm sure they're playing 36 today somewhere in Scottsdale. So, yes, that is the most content Ben has suggested in 6 months, maybe? Like, that's it. You guys should replay that tomorrow. Yeah, I know. We got it.
Oh, radio genius over here.
Just so good.
God.
I love it. I love it.
He is?
I know. He's
just
the best.
Go play Topgolf.
Yeah, just go. Just go
to
have
Topgolf. Go eat your wings.
Go have fun. Do your thing in Arizona. We'll be fine. Me and Paulie. 15 minutes of sleep. I'm absolutely dying. So be gentle today. This is as bad as it sucks to watch yesterday. Thanks for the content, Bob, AJ, Padres. It's vastly needed in the offseason. I'd like to get to some more positive content at some point, but seemingly all of the news right now is dire. You had a report yesterday about Juan Soto being potentially shopped to the Yankees. That's a fun one. That's a really, really fun one, too. So we'll talk about that as well. But let's go right into Bo Mel. It was 10:30 yesterday. We got out of here. As I was driving home, I put it on my phone to listen. I wanted to hear it. I wanted to see how it sounded. And I'll tell you, just initial reaction was, like somebody kicked me in the stomach.
Yeah. Monday we came in and we were upset
Mad.
with the reports.
Yep.
Tuesday we kind of said, all right, it's time to accept it and move on. Like it's going to happen. So probably this week, all we can do is move forward. We can't change it. And that's still accurate. We can't do anything about it. But
can't tell you it didn't sting, though.
Seeing like the actual report, like the notification on Wednesday.
Sucked.
Giants expected to announce Bob Melvin tomorrow, and then seeing the uniform and everything. I'm like, we are once again the laughingstock of baseball.
Yes, once again, I'm
just sick and tired of that.
It just gets embarrassing after a while. So, Giants introduced Bob Melvin yesterday. Here was the first thing he said, and I will play that for you right after we check traffic.
Because we check traffic at this time.
Of course we do.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by SDG&E. Just one problem in the North County, southbound 15 before Miramar Road. Stall big rig in the slow lane. In peak wildfire season, as a last resort, SDG&E may need to shut off power in specific areas for public safety. Learn more about public safety power shutoffs at sdge.com/PSPS. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Well, thanks. This is kind of a surreal moment for me. I grew up around here, as everybody knows, a absolute crazy Bay Area sports fan. Whether it was Cal and Stanford, whether it was the 49ers and the Raiders, whether it was the Giants and the A's, the Warriors, I was into it all. And, I was walking over here today thinking, talk about full circle. And, for me, this isn't even something as a kid you could even dream of, to be able to not only play here, manage here, go to Cal, manage the A's. It's not something you even dream about. So at some point in time, this will sink in. I guess putting the jersey on and the hat is partly that way. But when I got up this morning, it just seemed like it was too crazy to even comprehend. So, to be back here and be in an area that to me is so important, and the Giants are so synonymous with the city. It really is. San Francisco is the Giants. The Giants are San Francisco. And I don't think anybody understands that more than I do. And no one is going to be as responsible and caring and know this matters to the city what this team means to the city. So
Yeah, it's great. It's good for you. I
thank
don't
Greg
listen
and
to it
Farhan
anymore.
and Larry and
Yeah, it's
everybody
fantastic.
else
All
here.
right, thanks, Bob. Appreciate your time and contributions. It definitely sucked seeing that. I mean, look, it's still in the press conference. It painted an interesting picture about what the future of the Giants is going to be, and it came out in the press conference that Farhan has also been given. They've agreed to, in principle, a new contract that's going to stretch out until Bob Melvin got a 3-year deal. Farhan got extended.
Farhan has 1 year remaining.
1 year left.
And I guess they've been talking about it, but somebody asked him, and Farhan, you only have 1 year left? And Bob's for 3 years? And he goes,
Larry, do you want to weigh in? Yeah. And so, was it Greg or Larry?
I think it was Greg.
Yeah, Greg, you want to comment on that? He's like, yep, we've agreed.
We're working on it. It's just about done.
It's done. So they're going to be together. They're going to be together for the next 3 years and see what they can do together. There was a couple of interesting things when they talked about free agents potentially, and they asked Giants chairman Greg Johnson about what fans could expect as far as payroll goes. And his quote was, well, I think it depends on who we target. When you look at the luxury tax, 1 year, you can go past that if you have to. I don't think it's something we want to do for a long period. Which is reasonable, but he also said, our goal is to somewhat break even. Now, their payroll last year in San Francisco was $173.8 million. It should be, if they put in all their ARB-eligible guys, it should be right around the same. But they want to add pieces. And Bob said in his press conference...
They've tried the last couple of years.
They have tried.
Arson Judge.
Yeah, Arson Judge. Yeah, but Bob said, basically, I've got a line on some free agents, and I can certainly help. I wonder if Blake Snell...
Hey, Blake.
Yeah, would be in the mix for that. I don't know... I don't know Bob's relationship with Blake. I imagine that it's pretty solid. Maybe not. I have no idea. But I know that he's going to... When a manager comes in with a clean slate like that and the GM has now been extended for 3 years, what is their goal? They're going to get in a room, they're going to huddle up and go, how do we win? How do we beat the Padres? How do we beat the Giants? And now, how do we make sure that the upstart World Series, appearing Arizona Diamondbacks aren't on us as well? So make no mistake, man. Bob Melvin has his work cut out for him. There's no question about it. It's still going to be a tough division, I would imagine. And so they got to find a way to get players there. Bob Melvin helps that, in my opinion. When guys check in with other guys that have played for Bob, they said, you'll love it. And they said that about him being here. Talked to 1,000 people, everyone 100% across the board. You'll love playing for Bob. You'll love playing for Bob. So that concerns me a little bit. Now that Bob Melvin is essentially on the recruiting trail, because why wouldn't he be? He wants good players too. And they don't have a stacked roster. They don't. They've got some young talent, no question about it. And they've got some frontline starting pitching. Bob's done a lot more with less before. He has. He didn't do it here. It was a rough year. It was awful. He takes a lot of the responsibility. A.J. Preller takes a lot of the responsibility. Them as a tandem, it didn't work out. But I thought
it was interesting how when Bob Melvin was asked about what his philosophy is when it comes to analytics, all he talked about was Oakland.
Correct.
And how great Oakland was. And there's been reports over the last couple of years here in San Diego that he didn't feel like he was getting the right information or enough information from San Diego's analytic team. Remember there was a podcast that went around like a year ago that we played on the show. I don't know if we still have it, but basically it was like, Bob Melvin told me, he goes, I don't have any of the same information that I had in Oakland.
Yeah.
We're like, that's a problem.
That's a problem.
And he goes up to San Francisco. He's like, Oakland was great. Oakland, we worked together.
Yep.
We had a great analytics team. And I go,
They have a huge staff. And he mentioned it yesterday. And now, we'll figure out who he's going to bring. The rumor mill is he's going to take Matt Williams and Ryan Christensen.
I think that's safe to assume.
To those guys, thank you. Wish you well. Matt Williams, more bad sends than maybe any third base coach I think I've ever seen. So I'm good with that. I'm good with that. But, listen, enough about the San Francisco Giants. Like, they now have Bob Melvin as their manager. They're going to move forward with that. They're excited about it. Now, in the YouTube chat for the Giants presser, I didn't see a lot of excited Giants fans, if I'm being completely honest with you.
Oh, my God.
I didn't see maybe one. They weren't happy. They're not happy about this. It's not that they loved Gabe Kapler. I don't think anybody really loved Gabe Kapler. They just, in their eyes, they looked at Bob Melvin as a retread. That's what I saw all over and over. Retread. We need somebody different. And I'm like, bro, you just had somebody different. Gabe Kapler's as different as it gets. So
I mean, from Bochy to Kapler, very different.
Very different.
And then from Kapler to Bob,
which is going to be very different.
Very different.
And I think,
whereas I think Bob and Bochy are a little bit more similar.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I mean, and we'll see him opening day. We'll see how it goes. And taking the job, you heard about it, you read about it, it was rumored. Then when it comes out, watching him speak about the Giants, watching him post something on Twitter, hey, Giants fans, like, he was complimentary in his words about the Padres, and but you could tell, man. Let's do real quick, Paulie, let's play number 3 on the sound list of Bob Melvin. Why is San Francisco better for him than San Diego?
Look, I really don't want to get too much into the San Diego situation other than the fact that I really enjoyed my time there. Some things transpired last year in a difficult year for the team with high expectations. I think there was a narrative at the end that probably wasn't going to go away with me being on my last year of my contract. And I think as far as that organization goes, it's probably not fair if that narrative continued through, next year. So all things considered, this opportunity came about, and for all the reasons I stated, this feels like the right one for me. But I very much enjoyed my time in San Diego. It just seems like with a lot of things that were popping up there, it just was time to move on.
And the funny thing is both parties.
That says so much to me.
It does. He was never going to resign because you'd be a fool to walk away from $4 million.
Right.
He was never going to resign, and AJ was never going to fire him. So something had to give. And the Giants, when they fired Gabe Kapler, we all said, yeah, this is a very real possibility. Mm-hmm. And in fact, I'm sure he's been on the board in San Francisco, top of the list before they fired Gabe Kapler. You hear rumors of things not going well in San Diego, just like AJ heard rumors of, Oakland's going to do this, they're going to move to Vegas, so he makes that call. He makes the call to Oakland. They end up stealing Bob Melvin. I don't look at any of this really as an indictment. I don't look at it and say, this is 2 jobs in a row. Bob's left with a year left on his deal. No. He's under contract. If they wanted him here, they would have extended him. It also didn't really make sense to extend him, so you're at a stalemate. So you do what you do. Bob Melvin's now the manager of the San Francisco Giants.
Those comments that he just made, though, about how there was a narrative in San Diego that kept popping up, and I knew if I stayed, it was going to continue to pop up.
And it was.
That tells me, 100% believe that.
First question is spring training. How's your relationship going?
And we've been told, oh no, everything was great with us, Bob and AJ. We're gonna move forward, no problems,
right.
Everything's solved. For Bob to go out and say that at his introductory press conference in San Francisco tells me, no, nothing changed.
No, really, nothing changed.
We had problems. They weren't going to get resolved.
Well, and I think,
and it was going to be a mess next year.
And I will always wonder if AJ had went. AJ talked about them meeting in Arizona last week. If AJ had gone to his house in Arizona and said, you know what, man. In the interest of putting all this to bed, here's a 3-year deal. Giants are calling. Yeah. Here's a 3-year deal. I don't know that Bob signs.
Does this tell you I'm serious?
I don't know that Bob signs it. I don't know. AJ obviously didn't do that. But again, going into one more year under contract with a rift, perceived or otherwise. I love that both parties, though, are doing the thing where they're like, Bob's like, I took the job. San Diego deserves better than that narrative. And then the Padres are saying, we just wanted him really to have his dream job. No one's really...
We don't really care what happens to us. We just want to make sure
Bob's happy. It's just priceless to me. It's priceless. It makes you just... It makes you roll your eyes and go, all right, look at these guys. Look at everybody, people helping people. Look at what we do here in San Diego. Thank you, Bob, so much for sparing us all the narrative of next season as you go to one of our division rivals, and now are going to manage against us. So A.J. Preller spoke yesterday. Let's start with his statement, Paulie. We're going to go to break here pretty soon, but I do want to start with his opening statement when the Zoom kicked on. I missed this entirely, as you guys know. I was in the torture chamber, but this is how he opened the press conference.
Just want to start by saying that we obviously appreciate Bob's contributions here the last 2 seasons in San Diego, and we wish him the best in San Francisco. I think, from my conversations with Bob over the last few weeks, and I think clearly watching him today, I think we understood it was a unique opportunity in San Fran for him to go back home, and the one job that definitely appealed to him outside of San Diego. So I think for us as an organization, our attention really switches forward to hiring a manager, and I think we're super excited about the process. We know we've got a really talented roster and some great players. And, our attention shifts as soon as today to go finding a manager that we feel like is going to connect with those players, shares the passion and thirst that our fan base has to bring in a championship here to San Diego. Somebody that has a shared vision with the different departments of our organization. And, honestly, somebody that when we look up here at the end of the year, we're back playing in October. And that pursuit starts today. And we're looking forward to getting started on that.
So that's a speech now that A.J. Preller has become quite adept at. He has given that speech before. He's given that statement before. It would have been interesting to go back and pull the press conference after each one of the managers that has departed under his tenure. Again, he talked about it yesterday. There's context involved in each. I'm not denying that whatsoever. There absolutely is. There was, there is, there always will be. But here we go again. The same essential statement of, no, we're going to now, this is the time we're going to find somebody that aligns with what our guys want to do. We want to be playing in October. And make no mistake, guys, I have no doubt that A.J. Preller wants to be in October. None whatsoever. I never have questioned his loyalty to the San Diego Padres. I've never really thought he was in it for personal accolades. I don't think he enjoys talking to the press very much. He's not Brian Cashman, right? I know he wants better for this team. But after so many years, we all ask the question every day, are you capable of delivering it? That's the burning question through all of it. What makes you the guy? What makes you the guy? And bless our beloved Bernie Wilson, who's not new thing. He's always been tough. But man, that relationship is getting very adversarial. I want to play it because I missed it live. I heard some snippets. Paulie's got it next. You don't want to go anywhere. This is really, really good stuff. Thank you guys for being here. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan, home of your San Diego Padres. You're dramatic, but we love you, but you're very dramatic. Let's clean it up. We'll be right back. God, what a perfect song. Sometimes it just works out that way, where the perfect song plays. If it keeps on raining, the levee's going to break. And I got to say, man, been in this town 14 years, followed the Padres from the minute I got here, fell in love with the Padres when Manny Machado signed here, just madly in love with them. And have generally, Paulie, over the years, been very excited about the direction of this team. I've often described it as a rocket ride, right? And a rocket goes from ground zero straight up in the air. And I felt like this team was on the rocket ship, to the moon. And the moon, through the stratosphere to win a World Series. Just baby steps along the way, bumps, bruises, mistakes. It's going to happen. It happens to every single team. It happened to the Diamondbacks. It's happened to the Phillies. It's happened to the Rangers. My God, has it happened to the Rangers? A lot of those moves the Rangers made, you look at and go, you gave Marcus Semien that much money? You gave Jacob DeGrom $300 million? Like, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? Like, every team does it. It happens. But, the antidote to all of the garbage, man, the antidote to the levee breaking is winning, getting to the playoffs, advancing in the playoffs. It makes all of the bumps and bruises worth it. It makes it go away.
Don't be mistaken. There were conversations happening all across the baseball world, similar to the Padres. Why are the Texas Rangers spending so much money?
100%.
This isn't going to work.
They're throwing.
Is this sustainable?
Is it sustainable? They're throwing all this money at these guys. Are they the right guys? And I think for a time, I don't think they were the right guys. But now you look at it and go, well, look at that. Worked out really, really well. But I will say this, man. I've been following this team. I've been active on Twitter about this team since I moved here in 2010. And I don't know if I've ever seen more deservedly negative commentary from the fan base. And I have seen some nasty stuff over the years. I don't think generally overall that the mood about this team has been worse. And I'm just speaking for a very small corner of Twitter. Now, there are people listening right now rolling their eyes saying, you weren't here in 1984, or 1988. You don't realize how bad it was. You're right. I wasn't. But when you put expectations in the mix, it changes the recipe. You didn't expect anything out of those teams. Nothing. This, you expect the world. And frankly, you're right to expect that. You are absolutely right to expect better than what you've gotten. And you deserve to hear the truth. You deserve to hear that things will get better. You want to hear from the players saying, we screwed up. It's never going to happen again. Even though we know that you can't really believe that because it's baseball, you still want to hear it. Everyone wants to feel good, inside. You want to see some fire for your team. You want to see some fire from your GM, saying, this is not going to happen again, man. This is on me. I'm going to bust my tail to make sure this team is October bound next year, and we are built for success and a sustained run of success. That's what you want to hear. We've danced around it a little bit, but I have not heard, yet. What I really want to hear as a fan as well. But yesterday, so the press conference was on Zoom with AJ Preller. He gave his opening statement, wish Bob the best. That's standard. This is an interesting one. Number 4, why didn't it work with Bob Melvin?
Yeah, I'm not again, like I know this year was, we didn't meet our expectations, so I understand that for sure. I think we definitely look back on last year with a lot of fond memories and getting to the LCS. So kind of like judging how much did it work, how much didn't in 2 years. We getting to the playoffs one and then falling short the other. I do know for like talking to Bob, like I know it was different. Like from Oakland, I think he got used to the situation there in Oakland, and coming here and just different roster, players with some from a contract situation was different. I think he talked about it today. Like, obviously, we've got, I think with Oakland, a smaller shop. I think some of those things, you kind of look back on, and from my own standpoint, did I make it easier? How can I do it a little bit different to make sure that the manager feels comfortable? And, again, like there's, we've got different departments here that contribute to winning, and making sure that everybody's on the same page and communicating. That's probably my biggest job. And, I think as we go forward to the next manager, we've got to make sure we have somebody that, like from that standpoint, wanting the best information, wanting to use our resources as an organization, and myself kind of over the top, trying to coordinate it all. I think that's something I've got to really focus on to make sure we nail that. And we did at different points in the last couple of years, but, I think as Bob alluded to here, I think he felt it was a little better fit, and I think we've got to find a manager that fits our group and our organization right now.
So that, it was a long answer, but I did take one thing out of that, Paulie, that he said, he actually said, I got to do a better job to make sure that the manager is on the right path, essentially. That's some responsibility, I guess, if we're grasping at a little bit of, a couple of little straws here of him saying, I need to do a better job. I just like when he says I need to do a better job, because I think he does. I think he does need to do a better job. And I think everybody involved with the team needs to do a better job, including players. They all need to do a better job.
Yes.
No one is infallible to criticism after an 82-80 season when you had World Series expectations. No one. Nobody on that team is infallible to criticism. So that just comes with the territory of running a baseball team. Bernie Wilson, though, holy smokes, Bernie! it's like the most. It's at this point, it's expected from Bernie to just go in and hammer AJ Preller, and let's play some of that.
I think
Paul.
we should just play. It's got
It's
a
long.
lot.
Is it long?
It's about 3.5, 4 minutes.
Oh, it's kind of long. But
it's kind of long.
We can stop it if we need to.
Okay.
All right.
Next up, we'll go with Bernie Wilson, AP.
Hey, Jay. The new guy is going to be your fifth managerial hire in less than 9 years, not counting a couple of the interim guys who did a game or 9 games or whatever. Why the high burn rate with your managerial hires?
Yeah, I think it's the fourth hire. This will be the fourth hire that we've made.
I'm including Murph. I mean, he was about a half of a season, and then Grady, then Ting, and then Bob.
Okay.
Yeah, I think like looking at it again, like I kind of like focus as far as with Nandy and now Jason, Bob. No, I mean again, I think that the idea is you want somebody that's here for a long time, and you want to find talented people that are here for a long time. But again, it's like anything. It's like, you look at any kind of partnership, it takes two. I think again, like I'll constantly look back and say, hey, how can we do this different? And what does it look like? Because you want to hire a really talented person, and hopefully they're here for, for a decade. But sometimes things come up. They're different rosters, different situations, maybe different opportunities that people are excited about. We've had other people leave the organization because they want to go they want a new opportunity. They want a different challenge. They want to be closer to home. But I think from my standpoint, it's like, look, we want to make sure we have an environment that, the employees feel good about working in. And, at the end of the day, putting a situation together on this next hire where hopefully we look up and this is somebody that's here for a decade. That's the goal.
I mean, I don't. I don't envision the next manager being here for a decade. I don't know why. I think it's because we've become conditioned to that.
What would lead you to think that?
Well,
it
yeah,
would?
Exactly. And I'm all for stability as long as it's headed in the right direction, man. I think that's the thing that Padre fans just want the most. They want some assurance that this thing is going to get turned around. It's going to get fixed. Nobody's going to come in here and we're not going to do it on the radio. Maybe we should. Maybe we should go full New York, full Philly, and World Series or bust. I think that you have to go into every season feeling like that, certainly. But you also have to be realistic with what you have. And when you look at what we have, when you look at what we had last season, that you felt was your best shot you've ever had as a San Diego Padre fan to win the World Series. Highest payroll you've ever had. On paper, the best players you've ever had, maybe except for 98. Those guys were a different breed, but it was a totally different era of baseball. I think Padre fans just want to be let know it's going to be okay. Like, we're going to fix this thing, and if not, there's going to be changes made. There's a lot in flux with this organization. There's a lot. Peter Seidler, as the report stated, is not super involved. He's recovering right now. He needs his privacy, his space, his time with his family. That's the most important thing for Peter, not this baseball team.
Yes.
As hard as it is to, hear, that's the truth. That man needs to get well. That's what he needs. So in his absence, AJ Preller needs to make the best moves for the organization. I'm sure he's going to try to do that to the best of his ability. So we'll see what happens there. But what else did Bernie ask him, Paulie?
Do you get a sense from Peter at all, any disappointment that the fracture between you and Bob was so acute that you couldn't find common ground, at least on a professional level?
No, I mean, again, I think from Peter's standpoint, I think the indication was he had a lot of faith in both me and Bob, and I don't really think anything changed in that way over the last few weeks or anything like that. I think, again, this opportunity, it sounds like for Bob was a unique one and something he felt he needed to explore. And I think he said it today. That's the one job he wanted to at least hear, or at least growing up in that area, et cetera. So I think from my standpoint, we were fully prepared, go out and have a big year and have a really good off season. And obviously now we're going to be doing that, searching for a manager as well.
Last thing from me, why should the person who is at least partially responsible for the obvious organizational dysfunction be the one who is asked to fix it?
I think obviously that's my job, as far as being the general manager and overseeing the team. So I think from our standpoint, what I'm trying to do is you go hire good people. I think we're, our environment, at least the way, at least the way I work, it's very open, it's very collaborative. We're looking for we feel like we have a lot of really talented people in the organization, and then for myself, trying to get everybody on the same page. And, obviously the last couple of years, we didn't quite get that right. So we've had different periods over the last few years where we have. But yeah, I think, as far as being the GM and the president, it's a big part of my role and responsibility. And, I'm going to look back at the last couple of years. There's different points in time and you learn from it. I think in 20, honestly, I think in 20, there was a lot of communication. It's probably the year that, personally I was the most active and involved in the big league team, and it was because of COVID. There really wasn't anything else to do, and everybody was locked in. It was a very unique time. I feel like our group played well, and the biggest thing was because there was communication constantly between players, staff, and and myself, training staff and R&D, et cetera. In 21, I probably felt like a little bit where, I kind of thought maybe we had it. And I think, probably didn't communicate as well in the last 2 years. I think kind of out of respect for, for Bob and different things. I think probably that constant communication, I think is something that, we'll make sure that we get right here this year. And similar to 20 year where we played well, I think, something that personally for myself, you're asked to wear a lot of hats as the GM. I think making sure this big league team is right this year, that'll be a big goal.
Okay, so...
Yeah, thanks.
Will you say that? By the way, I need that. Yeah, thanks. That's right.
Thanks.
One more time.
Yeah, thanks.
Perfect drop. Listen, so...
Thanks.
There's definitely some he said going on in this, and I think the truth, as it usually does, Paulie, lies somewhere in the middle. I don't really believe Bob 100%.
I think it'd be foolish to believe
one
either
or the
one.
other. Yes, 100%.
100%.
The truth lies somewhere in the middle. That's how I sleep at night, knowing that that's probably the case. And again,
yeah, thanks.
no more crying over spilled milk. He's gone. He's with the Giants. Who are we going to get that aligns with AJ Preller? And that's the thing. That's a conditioned response by me, saying, well, who aligns with AJ Preller? Who aligns with the players? Who's the best manager for the job? The condition of needing to be able to work with our general manager, that's a problem in and of itself, in my opinion. Like that.
When you look at the last three managers, we had two, going, Andy and then Jace.
Yeah.
Two relatively unknown new managers, inexperienced. That didn't work. So then you went and got manager of the year,
right,
3 times, one of the most respected guys in baseball, and that didn't work. So who is the right fit?
Truth lies somewhere in the middle. Somewhere in the middle. A little bit of experience. Again, when your first qualification, I think this is accurate to say, and I think it's a fair statement. When the first qualification for the new manager is, can he work with our GM? Is that the right way to hire a manager? Or is it, hey, man, is this guy going to lead this team to victory? Is this guy going to motivate this team? Is he going to manage this team effectively? Is he going to be able to manage all of the players in the clubhouse? Is he going to have their respect? No. The first question here is, well, how's he going to get along with AJ? That's a problem in and of itself. So the question I wanted to ask yesterday before the world crumbled was, at this point, why wouldn't you hire a GM after 9 years? Why wouldn't you insulate yourself a little bit? It doesn't make any sense to me. Why wouldn't you hire a GM? Why wouldn't you go money whip Kim Ng and say, I know you don't want to work under, I'm going to leave you alone. Just come here. I need a buffer. I need you to talk to the media. I need you to do this. Let me do what I'm good at.
You and I were told, I think it was more the case when Tingler was the manager than Andy Green, but they tried that. They tried to have bench coaches, assistant coaches, hitting coaches, what have you, be kind of the buffer between the players and the manager. The manager was the buffer between AJ and the players, and it just didn't work. Nobody was on the same page. Nobody was pulling in the same direction. Everybody was just looking out for number one.
Which is a culture problem in and of itself. So you hire somebody, this is the hard part, you hire somebody like Kim Ng and you say, build the culture like you did in Miami. I'm stepping back. I'm going to scout and I'll get the owner's ear when we need a player. I'll rubber stamp the trades. I need a culture builder here in San Diego. Kim, you've done it. And she's one example, but there's other examples of people that have come in and built a positive culture.
She's the recent one that's out there and available.
And again, that's something that this team, I think, is lacking. At least that's what I hear from former players. and that's just something that I think is important to win. That's what I hear from a ton of people. There's a culture issue here. That needs to change. How does it happen? I don't know. And that's the most frustrating thing. So if you guys want to hear more of this, actually, I'd like to hear you guys weigh in before we get to, we need to get to Don't Do This. I think we've got a couple of pretty gnarly stories. But are people calling? Yeah, there's somebody online. Let's rip some phone calls, Paulie. We can push DDT if we need to.
Now,
833-288-0973. Wanted your take out there, the tier ones, on what you felt about yesterday's press conference. What do you think going forward? How did you feel when you saw Bob Melvin put on a jersey the wrong way?
Now, we got on a roll here. We did not get to it's real or fake today. It's a Throwback Thursday. We didn't get to that. So here's what I want to do. If you're usually calling in right now to try to qualify for a trip to Vegas, we're going to switch it up a little bit. It's the old cue to call.
Cue to call.
So at some point, could be during a segment, could be during a commercial break. I'll just tell you right now, it's probably going to be during a commercial break.
Sure.
When you hear this soundbite from our beloved Ben Higgins,
I love Max Muncy.
Oh, God.
That is your cue to call.
That's your cue to call.
Don't call right now. I'll play it again sometime in the next couple of hours.
We do need you to call right now if you want to weigh in on the Padres. But other than that, you're not getting the prize.
You're not getting a prize. But when you hear Ben,
I love Max Muncy.
That will be your cue to call.
And it's not.
And we'll qualify you for a trip to Las Vegas.
All right. We will be right back. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Welcome back, Ben and Woods 97.3, The Fan. About to take your calls on everything that went down yesterday. We just did this. I mean, we just did this at the end of the season, and I've got a little bit of Preller lash right now going on, Paulie, after the Zoom a couple of weeks ago, and now Bob Zoom yesterday.
I'm sick of breaking down Zoom conferences.
I really am as well. I really am as well.
Taking calls on, what did you think of what you heard yesterday?
Trust me, there was a part of me that said, I'm good today. I'm good. Like, I'd rather just come in and talk about Chili's. Like, how much I love Chili's and how mad I am that Chili's and Encinitas went away. It's gone.
Do you like loaded potato skins
Yeah,
out there?
100%. Like, do you like sizzling fajitas out there? Chicken crispers. Honey mustard, like all the good stuff that I would have rather done 4 hours on that. But a little tired at this point. We're going to talk to Major about it. Major will be able to probably put it a lot more eloquently than I do, and Ben does, and Paul does. Major, that's what he does. He's an eloquent guy. That's coming up very, very shortly here on Ben and Woods. But let's get out to the phones, Paulie. Who do we got?
All right, let's start at the top. Easy.
Easy.
What's up, Easy?
How we doing? Are you listening to another radio show, Easy? Good morning.
Sure sounds like it. Easy, going once. Easy, going twice.
All right, beat it. See you. I love you, pal. Sorry.
All right, Ryan, you're up on Ben and Woods this morning.
Yeah, so, well, I'm listening.
Thank you
hello.
so much.
Thank you, Ryan.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the show that you called into.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with simulation theory, but
yes.
This sure as hell makes me buy in, because it just seems like we're constantly on repeat with our sports teams in this town, right? Like, it's always the owner siding with the egomaniac, micromanaging GM over the coach / manager that knows what he's talking about. And it just sucks that we just can't have nice things, and
Correct.
I don't know why.
Well,
and I know, Woodsy, you don't believe in curses, but
I do now.
I mean, simulation
no, I do now.
theory?
I do now. I absolutely do now. You didn't see me throw my curses aren't real shirt into the garbage can last year. I 100% believe in curses now. I flip-flopped. I absolutely believe 1,000% that there is a curse, a hex upon this team. We tried to bring in the energy healer to get rid of it. That didn't even work.
Nothing works.
The occult is impervious to the San Diego Padres curse right now. That's how I feel. No, here's the worst part about it. We do get nice things. Look out the window. It's the nicest place I've ever been in my life. I don't even like going on vacation from here. We live in a vacation. We get the nicest things. We just can't have all of it. It's like the baseball gods go, dude, you seen your ballpark? You seen your weather?
You're good.
See, like,
you got plenty.
You're fine. Let's give it to Arizona, a vast wasteland.
You got Fernando Tatis Jr. for the next 11 years.
Let's give it to the Metro. Let's give it to the Metroplex in Dallas, Fort Worth. Yeah. Arlington has it. So we do have nice things. We have the nicest of things. We pay through the nose for it, but worth every penny. Like, literally every single penny when I look out the window every day of my life. Leaving here today, gonna go play golf by myself. Like, this is the greatest place on earth. Be nice if our baseball team could reciprocate.
Let's compare the city of San Diego and the city of Philadelphia. Philadelphia, right. Great sports teams.
It's
Philadelphia.
I'm not living there for anything.
What's the weather? 40 degrees right now?
I'm not living there for anything. The accent, the weather, there's no way. There's just no way. Let's get one more in, Paulie.
All right. Let's go to John. John, you're on with Ben and Woods this morning.
Hi, John.
Hey, good morning, guys. I just want you to know I just completed my 54th disappointing season with this team.
That sucks so bad, man. I'm so sorry.
I was ready to take a hammer to my radio listening to that guy.
Yeah. Tough.
You know what? I hope him all the best for him, but I put this all on Peter Seidler for putting this guy into this position and just letting him go. And, I mean, I was ready after the first managerial hire that had less experience than me and then follow that up with the second one.
That was tough.
And now you've lost what I consider a really good baseball man. And I look at the question, who the hell wants this job?
So we asked that question too, and I will tell you this, man. Here's the thing, and you got to remember this: as easy as that is to say, somebody will always want to be a manager of a big league team. Buster Olney said it yesterday with Quinn and Chris. There's 30 of those gigs to go. That's it, 30 jobs. Somebody will want it, and somebody will take it under the assumption that I can change it, because everybody in that business has an ego. You have to. You're not going to survive. I can change it. No. They haven't seen the way I manage. They don't know how good I am with people. So someone will always want a big league job. Someone that has Bob Melvin could. This is hypothetical. Bob Melvin could text the incoming manager and say, "Get out." Like the movie, Get Out. Get out. Get out now. Get out. The manager would go, no way. No way, dude. I'm the manager of this team. And they feel like I'm the boss. I can do this. Like they haven't seen me do it yet. That question can no longer be asked, because if there's a managerial job, if they did an expansion team to Fargo, North Dakota with a $700 payroll, somebody wants the job. Somebody took the Oakland A's job. Somebody wants the gig, because everyone thinks they can fix it.
I would push back a little bit and say the more turmoil the franchise has,
doesn't matter.
It will give some pause to some
players. It will 100%. Players, it absolutely will give pause to signing here 1,000%.
But you don't think for managers?
I don't think for managers even a second. Not for a second. Now, not every manager wants the gig. Somebody will want the gig.
Well, there's always going to be somebody looking for their first job in baseball.
He asked, who wants this gig? Ryan Flaherty probably wants the gig. Some low-level assistant, with the Kansas City Royals that's never gotten a look, but the first base coach will take the job. 100%.
But do the right guys
want the job? My gut tells me, yeah, they probably do. Managers have taken worse jobs than this one. Good managers. And they always will. They always want to get that gig. So, by the way, if they asked me to do it, I would do it in a heartbeat. Are you kidding? I know everything. Or at least I know what I hear in a second. Yes, I'm going to go be the manager. You kidding me? Greatest day of my life. Somebody will always want the gig, my friends. Thank you guys for the calls. Major Garrett is coming up next. Excited to talk Padres with him, but I'm really excited to talk about his podcast that he's just launched and spent 2 years of his life doing. It's incredible. It is incredible. We'll talk about that, Padres, and then some next on Ben and Woods 97.3 The Fan. Welcome back, Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Ben out in Arizona, golfing it up, having a ball, I hope. He deserves it. When Ben's
Is he on the course already?
Oh, yeah, dude. He's 100% on the course. Or he's at least getting warm, hitting some wedges.
Good.
Happy for him. He loves golf and gets to spend some time with his buddy Scott. I get to spend some time with my buddy Paulie and my other buddy Major Garrett. We will get to CBS Chief White House correspondent right after this quick check of traffic.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
I get so tired of people dropping stuff in lanes, you guys. Southbound side of the 15, just past the 78, some large appliance or furniture in the right lane. So take it extra carefully there. South 15, just past the 78. Then up ahead, past Miramar Way, we still have that stalled semi blocking the right lane. Crash the coastline now. Southbound 5, this is right before La Costa. It's blocking the fast lane. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Let's head out to the Ben and Woods hotline to welcome back to the program CBS Chief White House correspondent Major Garrett. That's still your title, yes, sir?
Chief Washington correspondent.
Oh, okay.
I'm not in the White House every day. That's okay.
Got it. Chief Washington correspondent. Also, podcaster extraordinaire, my friend. I want to get to...
Major, this man has been hyping up this
I have
podcast
been.
for the last 3 hours.
It's so good and well done. I'm not surprised because you were involved in it. Let's start with the Padres, though. I wanted to get your really usually pointed and eloquent take on what's been going on low these last couple of weeks. Major, welcome back.
Welcome back. It's great to be with you. And first of all, let's just have a moment of perspective. Whatever's happening with the Padres is infinitesimally smaller than what's going on in Maine.
Yes, 100%.
What's going on in Israel, what's going on in Ukraine. I'm a newsman who lives at the intersection of a lot of big national and international stories. And I'm telling you, the last 3 weeks have been really hard.
Brutal.
I mean, just really hard. As a journalist, as a person. As one baseball executive once said to me, baseball and all of professional sports occupy the toy store of life. You know, they're the place of amusement. They're the place of adventure. They're the place of relaxation and dreams. They are not the real world in the sense that the real world can really shock you and give you pain. And the last 3 weeks have been shocking and painful. So just that moment of perspective.
No question
for
about
that.
it. Thanks for that.
It's been tough for us to talk about a lot of these events going on in the world the last few weeks because
no doubt.
we don't have the words.
Right.
And I'm not trying to preach to anybody or anything. I'm just saying, as someone who lives in this space on a relentless basis, it's been a very relentless 3 weeks. Now back to the Padres. So I watched AJ's media availability yesterday. Let's just dissect it at a couple of levels. One, if you so value Bob Melvin, you don't let him escape. So all the stuff about, well, it's a unique opportunity, and Bob said it was a really good thing, and then you don't grant him permission. You didn't for Ryan Flaherty in a different circumstance.
Yeah, true.
They wanted Bob Melvin to go. AJ wanted Bob Melvin to go, and now he's gone. And he'll be in an opposition dugout all next season. And that's a reality all of us have to deal with. Now, am I an unapologetic supporter of Bob Melvin as manager of the Padres? No, I'm not. The record in games that were winnable and should have been won was abysmal. And that has to vector back toward the manager at some level.
Sure.
And I'm not going to join the chorus of saying that A.J. Preller is an irredeemably bad general manager, because he isn't. There are aspects of the Padres that shine brightly simply because A.J. made some decisions.
Correct.
There really are. There are some aspects
No
of
question.
the organization that are brilliant because of decisions that A.J. Preller made. Last observation I will make on this, and this is not a news flash to anyone. Would we rather be the Braves or the Dodgers right now? Assembling the track record of this regular season and then going and getting thumped,
waxed,
unceremoniously out without even a whimper in the playoffs? You know, I think there is something fundamentally wrong and broken about Major League Baseball's playoff system if teams like the Braves, the Dodgers, and the Orioles, who were unquestionably the standard of the Major League Baseball industry, are thumped so unceremoniously in the playoffs and we are left with two wild card teams that nobody was excited about during the regular season.
I'm surprised.
Much more excitement about
I'm
in
surprised.
the World Series.
I'm surprised. I have the complete opposite take. Now, I love you, and I think you are the best. But I don't know. Maybe it's the fact for me. Maybe it's a little petty because I'm like, hey, listen, $30 million a year guys not getting it done. I'm not going to blame the form. And I said it, and I stand by it, Major. If the same thing happened to the San Diego Padres next season, they won 100 games, ran away with the West, got the break, came out, they didn't hit. I'm not mad at the format. I'm mad at Manny. I'm mad at Soto. I'm mad at Tatis. Right. I'm mad at the manager. I'm mad, and I the only thing I would say, and Braden actually said to me yesterday, he goes, I disagree with you in the fact that I would like more playoff games. Make them all, best of 5, no best of 3, best of 5, best of 7, and go from there. I go, that's one I will get behind. Because what does that mean for me? More playoff games. I'm in. Maybe
more playoff games.
Yeah, maybe the cream rises to the top there. But I don't like a rest for a team. I understand it can be detrimental, but holy cow, the guys that went out and won 100 games, they're very highly paid, and the manager knows what he's doing. Obviously, you got to get them ready to go. But I'm down for more games. If you want to fix the playoff format by that, fine. Fine by me. I'm all for it.
Yeah, shorten regular season and add more playoff games.
Yes.
I'm okay with that. But back to where we are. I wish there was a bit more self-reflection on AJ's part.
Yes.
I just wish that he would say a couple of things that he didn't say. And by the way, props to Bernie Wilson.
Yeah,
Great question.
100%.
Brother, don't know you, read your stuff all the time, mad props. Best questions.
Thanks.
The three.
We saved the drop. We saved the drop from him saying, "Yeah, thanks." At the end of the deal, I got him. We broke Major. I love it.
Yeah, that's good. Well played. AJ needs to be more self-reflective and say, "Look, I am responsible. I am the face to the fans of this franchise because I make the decisions about the players on the field. And there are mistakes that I made in roster assemblage this year. There's things I missed. There are things that obviously are said about this organization, and I'm not going to denounce anonymous sources any longer because guess what? They proved to be 100% correct.
Correct.
And that lack of self-reflection and that lack of appreciation for what the best fan base in Major League Baseball deserves and hungers for is a huge swing and miss from my estimation.
You're used to. We're talking to Major Garrett here this morning, and you're used to this. I mean, you cover guys that speak like this for a living.
And misdirect and all that sort of stuff. Yeah,
you're very used to. You're very used to this, and I've been saying the same thing. It's hard to look in the mirror. It is. It's just hard to do. Nobody likes to do it, and it's hard work. The putting your head down, hiring another manager, rolling the dice to see if it works out again. It's tough. And I think, like I said earlier, the fan base right now is at a fever pitch. They are like, they're turning on this thing faster than I've seen almost in any other year I've had, certainly covering the team, but at least since I moved here in 2010, fans definitely kind of want some answers, and they want some accountability. They want to hear that it'll be fixed. That's just what they want to hear, that it's going to be
fixed.
And
they don't want to be treated like suckers, meaning, well, we're the only game in town, folks.
Yeah, no doubt.
They don't want that. They don't. They have done their part. They buy the gear. They show up. They scream their heads off. They reluctantly boo. They're not like Philly fans or Yankee fans or Red Sox fans. They hold back. They give deference, and they have given deference. And I don't think AJ quite understands what you're talking about. That I'm not saying the fan support is brittle or about to break, but it has its limits.
Yeah.
And one of the ways you massage those limits is to say, hey, I owe you something. I owe you an explanation. I owe you an apology or something like that. And there's a kind of detached coolness about AJ that I'm sure in many of his negotiations and other things works exceptionally well.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's true. It has to be true. But I think in this dimension, he could use some outside advice. And he would be wise to solicit it, and he would be wiser still to take it.
Yeah, and employ it. That's exactly right. The great Major Garrett joins us here on Ben and Woods this morning. Well, let me ask you this. You've seen some of the names floating around. You know, we all have our opinions on who we think who we could really, really get behind. I think, we're all in the kind of the Mike Schilt camp at this point because, if that is that your guy as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm an enormous admirer of the Cardinals organization.
Yep.
They function at a high level for a lot of very good reasons. They build a culture. They understand what winning is. They understand what accountability is. And they understand a relationship also to a very smart, very loyal fan base. I want Mike Schilt because he was a 4-year product of that, manager of the year, took him to the playoffs 4 times. That's the guy I want. I was glad when he came into our organization, and when things got wobbly with Bob Melvin, I thought if there's going to be a change, I want it to be Mike Schilt.
No question. I've come around a lot on it as well. But mostly, you know why I've come around on it, Major? Because I don't really have a choice at this point. Like
Right, exactly.
you take what you get, and you ride with the guy because you want to see them win. That's it.
Right. I mean, that's the powerlessness of being a fan.
Yes.
That's what you give up. Now, you could walk away and say, I'm not going to be a fan anymore, but then you don't get the excitement. You don't get the joy. You don't get the anticipation. You don't get all the conversation. So when you're in, you're in.
Yeah.
And once you step in, you hand over all power, and you are completely and perpetually powerless.
It's like being a parent sometimes, right? There's so many great things, and then there's days you're like, "Are you kidding me? Like, you're joking right now." But like you, that's why I'll never understand walking away from your child because you might get away from some of the dirty diapers and the vomit, but you're gonna miss the running into your arms after a day of school. So that's exactly right, man. It's exactly right. Well, I wanted to the last couple of minutes here. Got a chance to start your podcast. It's called The Spy Next Door, Agent of Betrayal, The Double Life of Robert Hansen. Now, you put 2 years of your life into this, talking to so many people. Give everybody just a kind of quick backstory on Robert Hansen and what was so fascinating about this.
Robert Hansen was a special agent with the Federal Bureau of Investigation for 22 years. He was arrested in February of 2001 and is the most damaging spy in FBI history and one of the 2 or 3 most damaging spies in all of American history. He did this while working at the FBI under the nose of the best, most aggressive, most accomplished spy catchers in the American intelligence community. He was a virulent public anti-communist who was handing off America's most sacred and protected secrets to whom? The communists.
Wow.
He was a everyday attendee at Catholic Mass, joined a very conservative part of Catholicism, Opus Dei, yet betrayed his wife in savage and unforgivable ways, betrayed his country, betrayed his faith, betrayed his colleagues, and got away with it until the very end. Nearly going to retire from the FBI before he was caught. And the means by which he was caught, I guarantee you, is one of the best surveillance, cloak and dagger, law enforcement stories you will ever hear.
Well, I started it this morning. Now, how do you want people to listen to this podcast? Does it matter to you?
So find it on any podcast platform.
Okay.
Of course, Apple Podcasts is great. Spotify. I will tell you, it is already one of the most popular podcasts of all podcasts, and it's a top rater in the true crime segment. It's the most popular launched podcast in the history of Paramount Global, the parent company is CBS.
Attaboy.
So it's doing very well.
It's so good. I put it on this morning. I got here really early because Ben's out today. So I put it on this morning, and as I was working and prepping for the show, I listened to it, and I went, oh, my God. I was at the edge of my seat and plan on getting all caught up.
The one thing I will tell the audience, and I have to apologize for this, you can't binge it. There are 8 episodes.
Yeah.
There are 5 available now. We release 1 each week, in part because we're not done with it yet. I'm still reporting out the last 2 episodes.
Wow.
But it will be bingeable soon. In mid-November, it will be bingeable. But you can listen to 5 episodes right now, and they're all really good. You have my word.
Yeah, well, and you did it. So I know that goes a long way with our audience. It's called The Spy Next Door, Agent of Betrayal.
It's called Agent of Betrayal.
Agent of Betrayal.
The first episode is called The Spy Next Door, but you look for it. You find it on podcast by Agent of Betrayal, The Double Life of Robert Hansen.
Man, it's so good, man. We'll keep up the great work, Major. We will talk to you soon. I'm sure some other massive, embarrassing news will break in the next few weeks, so we'll catch up with you then.
In about 3 weeks and break down that Zoom conference.
My brothers, I'm always here for you.
Thank you, Major. Appreciate it. The great Major Garrett Chief Washington correspondent here on Ben and Woods, just always knocks it out of the park every time he comes on. I love him too. And that man is a Padre fan since birth, and can speak a lot to what he's seen. He's got the ear of people in that organization as well that are pretty high up. And when he gets frustrated as a fan, it's time to look in the mirror a little bit. But love what he had to say. And again, I cannot recommend this podcast enough. I'm not typically your big spy type guy, but the first 20 minutes locked me in so bad when, I don't want to spoil, but the guy was basically like, I had to steal his Palm Pilot, and he never let his Palm Pilot go. And I had to steal it so we could download it. And I did it. And I was shaking. And I'm listening to it going, why would I ever get stressed about this job when that is someone's real job? To spy on a spy that you work with, and that's your job. You have to bring this guy down. It's so well done.
Check that out.
Yeah, go check it out. Agent of Betrayal, The Double Life of Robert Hansen by the great Major Garrett. Holy cow. All right, we got 2 hours down already. The show is flying by. We can do more of your calls next. Where you stand on the San Diego Padres. I did something last night that I never do. It's not that. Because I do that a lot. Be right back. It's Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. All right, we are halfway home on a Thursday. Ben and Woods 97.3, The Fan. I've really, really enjoyed, Paulie, the first couple of hours of the program.
Been fun.
It has been, fun is one. That's one word for it.
It's flown by.
It's flown by. There's never any shortage of things to talk about here in San Diego. I feared that there would be, actually, when the season ended, and it's never really calm around here. It is a very stormy sea. Here sometimes, navigating the San Diego Padres and the moves and the non-moves and the rumors and what's true and what's not true. I'll tell you what I did last night, though, before we get into something I hope I don't come off the wrong way when I say it, okay? But last night, I did something, Paulie, that I equaled my NBA watching minutes for all season last season. I equaled or surpassed them last night.
Wow.
And that's because of Victor Wembanyama. And I tuned into his debut. Did I get that right? Victor Wembanyama.
Yep.
And I have a hard time with some of the names. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Look at me. Luka Doncic. Doncic.
He was on the court last
night.
He
was. Luka Doncic.
Mavs and Spurs.
Doncic.
Luka
Doncic. Yeah, Luka. And they were taking on the Spurs and wanted to see this kid's debut. He's a freak. He's a freak. He's in the best possible way, like a specimen. Gets out, first couple of passes down the court. Mavericks have the ball, and he stands right at the top of the key and just spreads his arms out wide.
He's 12-foot wingspan.
He's like that rubber man I had when I was a kid. He stretches his arms out.
Gumby.
Gumby. First points in the NBA, a three-pointer. I mean, pretty cool. I think he ended up with 15 points. I think the Mavs ended up winning that game, but Victor with 15 points, couple of blocks, couple of assists. Pretty basketball Woods. Pretty good start to the young man's career. And
that's going to be fun to watch.
He is. He was fun. It was fun to watch. You
don't have to sit down and watch every Spurs game.
No,
you'll see the highlights though coming around every night.
The other highlight I saw, oh my God, Chet Holmgren, was
number 2 pick.
The number 2 pick. Getting back on defense, somebody crossed him up so bad, I thought he broke his ankle. And he almost hit the deck, stayed on his feet, looked to be okay, but I went, oh, that's super embarrassing. You're at a different level now. Chet's going to be fine. Victor's going to be fine. Everyone takes their lumps. Every single player is going to take their lumps at that level. But man, I watched Victor and I saw the Holmgren highlight and I went, oh man. Holy smokes, that's embarrassing. It would 100% happen to me. The only difference is he stayed on the court. You would have had to call the cart out for me.
Stretcher.
Yeah, stretcher, the whole thing. I want to talk about for a second, a lot of people have been texting and in the chat wanting to ask our opinion on what happened yesterday. Kevin Acee wrote a piece in the Union Tribune, just kind of summing up the press conference from A.J. Preller. As Bob Melvin is introduced in San Francisco, Padres' search for a new manager is already underway. Something tells me Kevin had that headline ready to go. He's done. He's written that story before. I'm going to say this too. Please do not think for one single solitary second that I'm calling Kevin Acee a liar or that I'm accusing ulterior motives. No, I'm not. But I'm reading through the article, and something jumped out at me, and it jumped out at a lot of fans yesterday. And it's the one thing in there that I went, what? This is weird. So he said the next few months do promise to be full of significant decisions. The Padres plan to trim at least $50 million from their payroll, which could involve their moving left fielder Juan Soto. A report out of New York on Wednesday said the Padres and Yankees have held preliminary discussions about Soto. That could be, by the way, as simple as a phone call. You guys interested in moving Soto? Yeah, maybe. What do you got, right? I mean, that happens all the time. A Padres source said the sides have not talked this offseason. Two different sources said previously the Yankees were among the teams that expressed interest in Soto before the trade deadline. And this is the part that got me. It leapt off the page. And it was fairly common knowledge within the organization that Bob Melvin favored trading Juan Soto. So I thought to myself, wow, I that's a new one for me. And as I'm not down there every day. I don't have near the amount of sources that Kevin or Dennis or anybody else that covers the team, Bryce Miller, AJ Caswell, I don't have near the amount of sources. But I don't not have sources. I don't not hear things. I never heard that. Never once did I hear Bob Melvin is interested in trading Juan Soto.
We've asked about Juan Soto.
100%. That's never come. When it says when it's common knowledge within the organization, I never heard really of a personality clash between the two guys. We all read into things, certainly. Maybe Juan didn't like where he was hitting or whatever. But by all accounts, everything...
we all became body language experts.
Body language experts, lineup construction experts, and I'm guilty as the next guy. But I never heard that the situation was so untenable that they were willing to move Juan Soto with a year and a half left on his deal. I certainly never heard that it was common knowledge. I have no doubt somebody told Kevin Acee this. None. I know he wouldn't print it if somebody didn't tell him that. My only question would be, why wouldn't that have come out at the trade deadline last year? If Bob Melvin, the manager of the San Diego Padres, was ready to and actively, which by the way is not his job to trade players at all. Also, Bob was only under contract for another year. Like, why would Bob care if the Padres signed Juan Soto long term? It just doesn't add up to me. Like, if that's information that was out there at the trade deadline as common knowledge, why didn't anybody report that? That seems to be something that would definitely be reported. So again, I think Kevin has knocked it out of the park, especially this offseason. I think he's done an unbelievable job. I think he's been proven right. Major just said it as well. I've said it. I think he's been absolutely dead on. But this one, to me, we've seen this before.
We see that where something happens, somebody moves jobs.
Somebody moves on. It's never our fault here, though. It's always them. We had to get. He wanted.
By the way, while we're setting him off, here's all this information that nobody knew.
Yeah.
About.
So that to me, I was shocked. Never heard that. Never heard it. I heard stories about Juan Soto. Absolutely. A coach talked about one. Oh, he's late for the bus. Okay. I don't think a guy of his talent being late for the bus is worthy of Bob Melvin. Get him out of here. I don't want a guy of his he's the only guy that really did anything this year. So why would you want to take your 2-3 hitter, one of the best hitters and on-base guys of his generation, and go, let's trade him for Anthony Volpe, another shortstop. No, I don't believe it. I don't buy it. And whoever's feeding that info, it sucks to say, it's pretty typical. We see this every time somebody is out the door here. They're painted in a really horrible, horrible light. And again, Bob Melvin is not excused from poor decision-making. He's not excused from his role in a bad relationship. No, everyone's at fault, in an untenable relationship that they had. He's as much to blame as AJ Preller. If it got bad, you should have addressed it. You should have brought in an intermediary to sit down and hammer it out and get back on the same page. That's as much on Bob as it is on AJ.
Keep in mind, we talked about it Monday or Tuesday. The thoughts from fans going, well, if Bob doesn't want to be here, then screw him.
Right.
And that mentality. That's what the team and AJ Preller want you to think.
You're playing right into their hands, and then you drop something like this.
That gets them off the hook.
You something like this drops, and you immediately go, you wanted to trade Soto?
So do I believe that somebody from the Padres organization told Kevin Acee, by the way,
you wanted to trade Soto.
While we're just airing all this out, Bob's an idiot. He wanted to trade Juan Soto. We all said no.
Actively been shopping, a manager actively shopping his best player with a year and a half left on his deal when they were...
Because wouldn't that fit into the team narrative of, hey, he was clearly not the right guy. He wanted to trade Juan Soto. We would never.
At the All-Star break, you weren't out of it. You didn't think you were out of it. You thought you were going to turn it around. Our next guest, Saris, thought they were going to turn it around. I thought they were going to turn it around. 85% of the fan base thought they were going to turn it around. But you're telling me now the skipper wants to get rid of Juan Soto at the deadline for Yankees prospects or his best player. So... that's a tough pill for me to swallow. It just is. And I've seen it too many times on guys leaving this organization in this town just get dragged through the mud when they leave. Again, Bob Melvin's at fault as well. He left. He got this opportunity. He took it. We got to take some responsibility there in the front office for, all right, yeah, I might have made it so bad that he wanted to leave, and he, if things were great and everyone was focused on the next thing and the next players and replenishing the rotation and everything else and going out and getting back to the playoffs next year, does Bob Melvin leave? I don't know. Maybe that's the one job, and he said that was the one job he would have looked at. Maybe we're just really, really unlucky. But that one to me jumped off the page yesterday of Bob Melvin actively looking to shop Juan Soto. I don't buy it. I'm sorry. I do not buy that. It doesn't make sense logically at all. Whatever Juan Soto did was not big enough a problem to want to trade him at the deadline last year. Nothing. I mean, come on. Guys have done way worse than be late for a bus or whatever. Not run hard down to first base. I heard that too. I've heard that was an issue. There's a lot of stuff that gets out. That's not something that I ever heard. And, the fairly common knowledge part is like, what? Really? Okay. I mean, I just don't see it. It just doesn't make sense logically in my head. So
you mentioned the report.
The report did come out yesterday.
That the Padres and the Yankees have had a preliminary conversation and really nothing more. Like, that article was a little bit of a nothing burger for me.
Yeah, sure.
It just, it's not going to happen. But the team would be doing themselves a disservice by not at least taking a phone call. I don't want them to trade Juan Soto. I think that would be the biggest mistake this team could possibly make.
Yeah,
Trading Juan Soto, whether it's the offseason before a contract year or at the All-Star break next year, you need to do whatever you need to do. And if that means trying to find your way out of bad contracts that you've already handed out, that ain't Juan Soto's problem. And that's not our fault as fans. You do not rob us of 12 more years of Juan Soto.
No question.
But I'm sure the team's taking phone calls on everybody because that's what you do.
Yeah,
I think it was no more than that.
You have to now. Now you have to. You're in a corner and you need help. Here's the other narrative that's going around that again, it doesn't make sense logically. I just saw it in the chat. Bob can't manage superstars, so he was desperate to trade Soto. Desperate to trade a superstar. I can promise you this. On my children, on my home, on the air that I breathe, there's not a manager on the planet that doesn't want superstars on his team. In fact, Bob Melvin in his press conference said, I want to go get more free agents. They're going to go after Shohei. They're going to go after probably Blake Snell, guys of that caliber. It's not a superstar thing. That Bob Melvin is not afraid to manage superstars. He's not. He's just not. It wasn't his fault that's what he was given in Oakland. And the first year he got to, quote unquote, manage the superstars, he took them to the NLCS. So I think that's a really kind of throwaway comment of he's not ready. He doesn't want him. He doesn't want the pressure. No, there's pressure with the San Francisco Giants, just like there was here, just like there is with the Dodgers. There's really only a couple of teams in baseball where the manager doesn't have a lot of pressure on him to actually collect dubs.
To say there's no pressure in San Francisco is ridiculous.
Absurd. Yeah, it's absurd.
That's a team that, in everybody's lifetime right now has won 3 championships in the last 15 years.
They want it back.
They want to get back there more than anything.
Yeah, so there's pressure there. Bob talked about it yesterday. I'll say it for the 50th time. He's not infallible to criticism. He deserves a lot of it. He does. He deserves a lot of it. And I hope he never beats us. I hope he never beats us in a Giant uniform. But I think some of the narratives that are going around are fairly ridiculous if you really think logically through what manager doesn't want the best guys on his roster that he can get. Every single one of them. You ask Mark Kotze, would you like Shohei Ohtani next year? Yes, I would.
Yeah.
100%. Would you like Blake Snell? Yep, I would. It's not a no.
Can we make that happen?
No. No, I don't want that. I like the young, scrappy guys. No. You want the best of the best. You want to spend the money.
Hey, the Blue Jays are thinking about moving Vlad Jr.
Do you want him? I don't want him.
No,
it's too big of a superstar. No, that just doesn't make sense logically, guys. Come on. All right, so think that through. Purple, again, doubles down. He's terrified of superstars. He's not. He's absolutely not. He's not. I promise you. If you cut open his head and look inside, it's not something you're going to find. All right? I love you. Thank you for commenting Alex says, I'm in denial. I'm not in denial. I'm a realist. That's a real thing. No manager is afraid of getting great players on their team. Not one in the business at any level. Travel ball, T-ball, it doesn't matter. You want the best players you can get, and then it's up to you to manage them. Come on, guys. Think that through. In denial. Got to know Sarah's coming up at 8:35. Excited about that, as usual. Want to talk to him about the World Series that's coming up. I'm excited. You know, we're riding for the brand in here. I can't wait for the World Series. I'm super excited to get baseball going again. Last night, I felt dead inside with no baseball on, and had to watch. I was forced to watch the NBA. So there you go. Paulie, do we have a throwback this week or no?
Not really.
Not really?
Nothing
All right.
great.
Fantastic.
We had one. You didn't like it.
I didn't like it.
So.
All right. We'll be back. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. The rising sun, playing some golf. Wonder how many holes he's got ahead of him today. I bet he's already 3 or 4, 5 deep. Beautiful golf out there. Really, I mean, that and spring training and fantasy camp, really the only reasons to go out to Arizona, in my opinion. And I do enjoy our
Good
time.
time of year to get out there.
It's a great time of year. The courses are always immaculate and beautiful. I'm happy for Benny. This is like a dream for him to get out and play some of these places. Speaking of, this segment of Ben and Woods brought to you by the Golf Mart. Got a text right now that kind of blew my mind, Paulie. This is pretty good stuff here. Buddy texted me, Kevin Acee may have just forced A.J. Preller to extend Juan Soto. How so? Well, AJ wanted Bob gone. AC says Bob wanted to trade Soto. AJ extends Soto and saves face because he's kind of known for that. If he trades him, Bob is innocent. If Bob Melvin wanted to move Juan Soto at the deadline, and then Bob's gone, you as AJ Preller, I mean, I can't tell you. We all know it's going to take a tremendous amount of money. Scott Boras clients hit the free market. Buster only said that yesterday on Glenn and Chris. Typically, there's only been a couple of examples where they really didn't. I think Jeff or Jared Weaver was one of them. I think the other one was Andrew Jones, he said. That went around and kind of did back channel deals with the owner, probably pissing Scott Boras off to no end. But if you give him the right deal, and maybe he has the potential to hit free agency again at some point in his career, which I'm sure he would. Maybe he would sign that deal to stay here and run this
5-6 year contract.
Run this thing back, but I think the Padres fan base forgets about everything if Juan Soto is extended in the next 2 months, right? Like, hey, all is forgiven. We've got Juan Soto here, and we're good to go.
And you lock him up for 6 years, like that's 3 managers away from now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it doesn't matter who's managing.
So I do think that would be. I think that would be interesting, right? And I think it would save some face. I do. I think locking him down and saying, all right, now we've really got our core 4, and we can build off of that and go out and win. Some ball games next year and try to get back to the playoffs and potentially, hopefully, win a World Series. So we will see how that turns out. But as Dominic says just now in the chat, extending Soto would certainly ease the sting. Yeah, that's what a good business does. When things go bad, you wave. Don't look over there. Look over here. Look what we just did to make you, the customer, happy. Yes. And A.J. Preller has delivered some of the shiniest objects we've ever seen. Major said that as well. I mean, he has done a good job in delivering those. They made the Padres relevant again, 100%. Mm-hmm. People care. They're interested. They like to – I mean, we're on the radar. Sometimes being on the radar is not fun, and it's like I told Benny at the beginning of the year, Padres #1 in the power rankings, the Zips projections to win the NL West, and I go, no. You don't want this. You don't want this. You want to fly under the radar when you can, but
you want to be the Diamondbacks.
You want to be the Diamondbacks, who's just the sneakiest under the radar team of all time. Yeah, right. And so, yeah, I mean, there's something to that certainly, but I do think that would help ease the pain a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot.
Happy belated birthday to Juan Soto, by the way.
Juan Soto turned 25.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Juan had a very wholesome birthday party with his family, had a band up there, had a beautiful cake, and it just looked very sweet and wholesome. And, I would like to see that move done. And, then you've got your core 4 guys for the next at least 6, 7, 8 years, whatever it may be. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. The GM is going to have to GM like a madman this offseason. There's a lot of holes to fill.
Well, again, a lot of the restraints on potentially doing that are positions that he put himself in.
Correct.
And the team in. So
correct. So
you got yourself there.
You got to get yourself out of it. Yeah, we've all gotten ourselves in jams. You got to figure out a way out of it, and we'll see. We'll see what happens, and certainly the roster will look much different than it did last year, and it will look vastly different than it does right now, I would imagine. And, the other side of that coin is the people that will say Juan Soto could get you back such a big return, Ben, he would get you back such a big return. I saw some of the names mentioned with the Yankees, and it just made me roll my eyes. Like maybe the Padres would take Anthony Rizzo with 1 year left on his deal. No. If Juan Soto goes, we're also going to unload some contracts that we don't want. Like, you're going to pay the lion's share. We're going to get the best prospects, and you're going to eat some money.
We're not taking on your crappy contract.
Just like the Red Sox did when they unloaded Mookie Betts and they sent David Price to the Dodgers, who was making, they had 70-something million left on his. That's how it's going to work, my friends. Yeah. Then it's up to you guys to sign him. It's not our circus anymore. We want all your best prospects. We want to dump some salary as well. And here's Juan Soto. I don't want that. I don't want it, but I can see the argument for it. You know, I'm in here talking about logic. Fine. Logic sucks sometimes, right? That logically gets you out of some potential problems that you've created, but that's not a solution.
But the only team that's acquiring Juan Soto via trade, and I've said this a million times, is a team that is on the cusp of winning a World Series. They think he's the guy that's going to put them over the edge. They're not trading any of their star players. They're not trading any of their top prospects. That's not going to happen.
The Yankees are in a position to trade top prospects, and I do feel like they think that they're a Juan Soto away. They're not. But I mean, if you're going to do it, you need a massive overpay, and you need to dump salary to give yourself more flexibility. So I don't want it to happen. That's not a wound I want to cover with a Band-Aid. That means moving Juan Soto. But yeah, that
would be a terrible, terrible mistake for the franchise.
Well, that comment in the article does make you think a little bit. If now AJ Preller trades Juan Soto, AJ Preller traded him. Bob Melvin didn't want him traded. The new manager doesn't want him traded, whoever that may be. Because you're hamstringing that guy from the get-go by trading Juan Soto this offseason. So we'll see how that plays out. We've got the great Eno Saris joining us next. Going to continue talking some baseball with him, talk some World Series, and just get inside that brain of his.
I'd like to take a break from the Padres for a few minutes.
Yeah, I would too. Let's talk about some other teams, some good teams at this point. We will do that next. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Welcome back, Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Going to get right out to Eno Saris here from The Athletic and ask him about Juan Soto. Ask him about the World Series. And he's just a smart dude. Always loved this segment with Eno. Let's check traffic really quickly. We'll be back with Eno Saris.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Just one crash to let you know about westbound 56 right before Black Mountain. Couple cars got into it there in the center divide. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Welcome, Eno. It's good to have you back with us. Ben is on vacation in Arizona, so it's just me and Paulie here this morning. Wanted to welcome back our favorite handsome underwear model to the program. Good morning.
Yes, I'm preparing to make some more underwear videos for the World Series.
The Bulgarhythm is super hot right now. Eno, wanted to ask you. Obviously been a tumultuous couple of weeks here in San Diego, and you saw your Bay Area guy. You saw Bob Melvin announced yesterday. But what I wanted to ask you about is something that is going to be a source of consternation and worry for Padres fans. The entire offseason and most of next year, unless he's extended. And that's Juan Soto. Got a report yesterday out of New York, of course, that the Yankees obviously interested in Juan Soto. Why wouldn't they be? I wanted to ask you this, though. Do you foresee a team being able to put together a package big enough to woo A.J. Preller and the Padres into trading a Juan Soto this offseason?
It's possible. I'd be reticent to do it myself because you got Manny coming off elbow surgery, and I would just want to have that big piece in the lineup next to Tatis. Just be sure of it, and nobody's going to give you back like a 3-hitter and 2 pitchers, So, and the other thing is, the thing that the Padres need the most and would probably be looking for in this trade is controllable young pitching, and not just any kind of controllable young pitching. They traded away Jackson Wolf pretty easily. It has to be good quality, controllable young pitching, and that's like maybe the most precious resource in baseball. So what would a package look like from the Yankees? I don't think that you would get Michael King and Clark Schmidt. I think you would be choosing between them. And then what kind of a hitter are you getting back from the Yankees to complete this deal? So, I've heard names like Oswald Peraza, and I just don't think of much of him as a bat.
Right.
So it's like, you're not going to get you could spread some resources around and get a 6-hitter and a 4th starter and a setup guy. And that could be really important because they do need those pitchers. But my inclination is that they're going to hold on to those guys and try to use money to paper over the bullpen and the back of the rotation.
You mean the Yankees?
No,
the Padres. The Padres will hang on to Soto.
The Padres are going to keep Soto and use money, use free agency to try and figure out the rest.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe trade one of their top prospects, for a pitcher.
Yeah, somebody in the chat just said the Yankees notoriously overrate their prospects. I feel like every team does. I feel like we're guilty of it as well here in San Diego. It's hard.
Well, I don't know. Preller, you mean the fan base? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's hard. It's hard to rate prospects. It's one of the hardest things to do. To project what they're going to do at the big league level. And, we haven't seen, for as great as AJ has been at developing talent, not a lot of those guys break through to the big league club. And most of the time, it's because they don't really get the chance. They're shipped off to other organizations then
he's traded a lot of prospects.
Traded a lot. And I wonder, like you said, if that's going to be the case this offseason. He has backed himself into a bit of a corner. He needs flexibility. Trading Juan Soto gives you flexibility. play. But then you're the GM that traded Juan Soto, much like Bloom in Boston that traded Mookie Betts and didn't really get a hell of a lot back for him.
Right. And people, it'll be rough because the math will be so obvious. It'll be, C.J. Abrams, Mackenzie Gore, and James Wood on one side, and then whatever he gets, later for him. And whatever he gets later for him will be less because there's fewer years of control.
Yeah, no question.
The in and out won't look good.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know that I want that as my legacy. If I'm a general manager, it's already a kind of a complicated one here in San Diego for AJ Preller. So that one would be tough. It'd be tough to sell
I don't
that.
think you're going to get a whole lot more now than, let's say you get to the July trade deadline and things aren't going well for the Padres, then move him then.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get a whole lot more now than you would 8 months later or whatever.
Some, but
and you can't sell me on, hey, we still believe in this team, but we're going to trade our best player.
Right.
Yeah. That's it. That's another part of it, the optics of it. And then, that last piece is right. If you trade him at the trade deadline, you can focus on prospects because you're not trying to get someone who's going to be immediately on your team. And you can probably maybe get more. You'd at least get more potential with the prospects at the trade deadline. Right now, you'd have to trade for major league pieces. And there's just not a lot of teams that are like, oh, yeah, like we've got all these extra major league pieces. Like the Cardinals always seem to have extra outfielders. And they traded away Randy Arozarena and Adolis Garcia, and they keep ticking, but they don't have any pitching. So, there's nothing you're going to get pitching wise from them.
No question. Talking to Eno Saris from The Athletic. So we were all kind of wrong last week in our theories about how both series were going to turn out. I thought
everybody was wrong.
Everybody was wrong. I mean, if you're the Phillies right now, it's wild. And Castellanos talked about it a little bit. Like, it's just so weird to be so locked in and then not. And then it just goes away, and you're just dying. The top of their lineup in the last couple of games didn't do a heck of a lot. The bullpen faltered a little bit, and it just. They look like they were gangbusters into the World Series. A lot of credit goes to Arizona, Torey Lovullo, all those guys. He managed that team brilliantly. Made a couple of moves I was pretty surprised at, pulling Merrill Kelly and all that. But that dude knows his team, man. He knows exactly what he needed to do to win those two games.
Yeah, and I think that some of the randomness or the unpredictability of the playoffs comes from, reliever outings. They used some relievers in taking those pitchers out early. They used some relievers that were outside of the circle of trust.
Yeah.
You saw a fair amount of Andrew Saalfrank.
Yes.
If Andrew Saalfrank pitched 2 more innings in that series, I think the Phillies might have won.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, he was feast or famine.
Walking everybody. He was deer in headlights a little bit. They were pitching Joe Mantiply, their only all-star last year, and who was outside of the circle of trust. It wasn't just Ginkel and Sewald. They found just enough from outside the circle of trust, and if any of those at-bats had gone differently. One example is the fly ball from Bryce Harper.
Yes.
He hit a ball 108 miles an hour with a 44-degree angle. Less than half of the balls like that are homers. Like, if he had pulled it down the line, it could have been a homer.
Yep.
But where he hit it, not usually a homer. If he had hit it 5 or 10 degrees lower, it's like 90% homers.
It's amazing.
So, and if you think about what 5 or 10 degrees in launch angle means off of the bat, you're talking about like a millimeter. Like he even said after the game, like he beat my barrel by a 1/10 of a second. And I think he's even wrong. I think it might be like 100th of a second.
Good Lord, man. I thought it was, when he had it, all too familiar for Padres fans. When he hit it,
there was a ball down the middle.
Yeah, when he did it again. That SOB did it again, and they're gonna come back and win this game. But no, I'm so excited about the matchup. I think Rangers Diamondbacks is a good matchup. The length of the Rangers lineup has been incredible, but as we've just seen, lineups can go cold at the drop of a hat. You just don't know. How are you handicapping this one?
I see the pitching staff is roughly equal. You've got 2 frontline starters that have been good all season and in the playoffs for both teams. You have a wild card starter in Max Scherzer and Brandon Pfaadt. Pfaadt has been better recently. Max Scherzer has obviously a much larger track record. So I give the Rangers a little bit of a nudge there, but I would give the Arizona bullpen a little nudge over the Rangers just because they produce better in the playoffs. They have a little bit more depth. Sometimes it feels like the Rangers trust two relievers in Leclerc and Spores. And so, that's nearly equal. The place that I don't think it's equal, you just mentioned it, the lineup. I'm taking that Texas lineup every time over Arizona's lineup, partially because of the depth. And one thing that I do like about it is I'm predisposed towards Juan Soto types and away from Adolis Garcia types because players that chase pitches outside of the zone don't age well. But when you're talking about constructing a lineup right now, you're not talking about giving – like I would give $300 million to Soto way before I'd give $300 million to Garcia.
Sure.
Garcia's 30. He reaches. It's not a good package. It's the Josh Hamilton package. It doesn't age well. And so, but when we're talking about this year, it's great to have a lineup that has Adolis Garcia and Evan Carter. Can you imagine if you're a pitcher and you have to pitch to one and then the other? Evan Carter is going to spit at every ball that you throw him, and you're going to have to be really fine and perfect to Evan Carter. And then Adolis Garcia is going to swing at everything you throw him. And so you have to have great stuff. So one is like command and one is stuff. If you don't have excellent amounts of both, one of those guys is going to get you. And that's what the Rangers have, is not only do they have a great lineup top to bottom, they have different hitters. They have very aggressive hitters, and they also have very patient hitters. They have high ball hitters, low ball hitters. It's a really diverse lineup that is really hard to pitch all the way through and get everybody out.
And it brings back, talking to, Sarah's here on Benowitz, it brings back a conversation we had middle of the year about how you would construct a team. And you actually made that point of you can't have 9 guys with the same swing playing that like the same pitch. Like, you have to mix it up a little bit, and you have guys that are, like you just said, low ball hitters, high ball hitters, guys that'll chase, guys that won't chase. That's how you construct a lineup these days. That looks about as perfect of a lineup that you will see in the playoffs so far, and it's worked for them.
Yeah, it reminds me, we were talking about Gary Sanchez.
Yeah.
The Padres had a bunch of high ball hitters, and adding Gary Sanchez, even though he's wild and he chases and, he has bad at bats a lot of times, he was immediately one of the biggest low ball threats in that lineup. And he, what did he do? He hit a bunch of homers and helped the Padres get better for a while. So, yeah, that's something to think about. It's hard to do because you're just trying to get good players. And, sometimes you can't be that fine with it. You're just like, I can't take this player because he's a high ball hitter. We have too many of those. Sometimes you just have to sign him anyway. But, I think it is important.
Your thoughts on Bob Melvin, the job ahead of him in the Bay Area with the San Francisco Giants? All press conferences are warm and fuzzy, and but you had the owner in there going, well, let's, we'll tap the brakes a little bit on payroll. We'll do what we need to do. Bob was openly campaigning for free agents to come there. So was Farhan.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to, I would imagine they're going to be active. We've seen them be active before to no avail. With Arson Judge and Carlos Correa. Neither of those worked out. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the job at hand for Bob Melvin?
I do really trust him as a communicator to players. I wonder if that reputation has taken a ding in the last couple of years.
Potentially, yeah.
I listened to a lot of what Preller said about it, and given my prior knowledge of it, I just heard Preller micromanaging Melvin and Melvin not liking it.
Yeah,
I even heard that in Preller's comments. So I think that there's a little bit more autonomy. My evidence that there's more autonomy in the San Francisco job is this: Kapler went out and hired 14 coaches.
Correct. Yeah.
And so that means that on some level, Farhan gave Kapler the keys and said, hey, you want to have the biggest coaching staff in baseball by like 2 or 3 coaches? Yeah, sure, let's do it.
Yep.
So I'm fascinated to see how Melvin deals with that big coaching staff first of all, and who stays and how he deals with that, and if he brings Ryan Christensen and all that. But I also think there could be a better mix there where Melvin gets the autonomy he wants, and then the players get maybe a little bit more communication than Kapler gave them, because there was some sort of molar grinding among players that they didn't always know their role. And
yes, you heard that a lot.
Melvin, the one thing I saw in Oakland, and I didn't see as much in San Diego, didn't know, I don't think he did the same kind of stuff in San Diego. In San Diego, there were the stars, and how many people did he have to tell what their role was?
Right.
There wasn't like I'm a platoon guy now. But in San Francisco, they do a lot of that platooning, and I think he'll be really able to be like, hey, like, we value you, but this is your role now. If you start playing better, this could be your role. But right now, this is how we're going to use you. And players appreciate that because they're like, oh, that's what I'm here for, and this is my roadmap. If I do this, I can get out of this role and get into a better one. Like, they just want to know what's going on, and I think that's something that Melvin can do.
Yeah, I've heard that about him. And like you said, he had a different roster here in San Diego. We've had people saying, well, he doesn't want to manage superstars, and I disagree. I think every manager wants as many superstars as he can get, and you figure it out and put him in the best position to win. I don't know how many superstars Bob Melvin's going to have to manage. He's got some good starting pitching. He's got some young talent, certainly, and we'll see how it plays out. We've got our own problems here, though, in San Diego.
If your superstars don't like each other that much, how much is the manager going to do about that?
Right.
The manager's not going to do kumbaya and trust falls and let's all go to steak dinner together and hash it out. That's not what the manager does anymore.
It's on the players.
If they ever did that.
Yeah, it's on the players. Yeah. Always appreciate your insight. Thank you so much. Have a great week. We will talk to you next week, and obviously enjoy the World Series.
All right. Thanks, man.
All right, buddy. Let's see.
That was Eno Saris, sponsored by 7 Mile Casino, featuring all of your favorite table games like California-style blackjack, poker, and baccarat. Just 7 minutes from the ballpark.
Our beloved Eno Saris, knocking it out of the park as he always does. Really appreciate his insight. Knows a lot of people. The one thing I wanted to ask him, and we'll have some clarity, I would imagine, by the next time we speak to Eno Saris, which will be next Thursday.
Might be the last time.
Might be the last time of the season. And at that point, I would imagine, Paulie, that we will have here in San Diego, California, a new manager for the San Diego Padres. Who will it be? Lots of things flying around. Did I hear correctly that did Ruben get an interview yesterday? Is that what I heard? Ruben Niebla?
I did not hear that. I heard Schilt was yesterday. I think it was reported.
Schilt's today, I believe.
I thought Schilt was yesterday. That's what AC said.
Okay.
And then
Flaherty
tomorrow. Could be wrong.
AJ said in the press conference, we're starting that search, and it's starting today.
Right.
Niebla's an interesting one for me. He's the guy that we need to make sure stays here.
He's one of the only coaches under contract still.
Yeah.
Christensen and Williams are not.
We had a manager under contract.
Right. Fair enough. It means nothing.
I'd extend him. That would provide some goodwill and some good feelings if you extend. He's incredible. He's an incredible pitching coach.
I do not want him to leave. Whether it's pitching coach or he's the manager, I don't want him to leave.
Do whatever you need to do to make that man happy. Ryan Report coming up next. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Adam just told me I've been fine today. Fine. You've been fine. I don't know.
You've been elite today.
Thank you.
You've
That's
been
what
okay.
that's what I wanted to hear. I no longer get panicked when Ben's out. You spend 5 years with a guy, and you're like, good. Now I get to stretch my wings a little bit. You go. I was gone a couple weeks ago, and you go. We'll have a good time. We'll make fun of you. Paulie and I, we were like commiserating. I hope he's not listening. He's on the golf course. I wanted to send something to his room. I know where he's staying.
We don't know his room number.
I don't know his room
but
number.
We do know the hotel.
I know where he's staying.
How can we prank him?
But I always worry about pranking him because I don't want him to get upset. Because that's the last thing I would want to do was make him upset. He was so good yesterday when he talked about in the Reindl report his first dates or lack thereof. I thought about it all day, and I go,
Yes.
He has the most. He was so open and honest about his lack of first dates.
Maybe a little too open.
A little bit too open. And I want him to know that we were laughing with him, not at him, certainly. But he is such an interesting dude. I've never met a person in my life, Paulie, that likes the finer things more, but doesn't want to pay for them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
He has exquisite taste, but he's also very frugal.
Yes.
So it's a weird combo.
There may be a misconception about Ben.
Correct.
That, Mr. Fancy.
Right. He is Mr.
And
Fancy.
he is, but he ain't dropping $400 a night for dinner.
That's the thing.
I mean, he's
He
a frugal SOB.
He is very frugal. He will go to the ends of the earth to get a free box of golf balls, but will pay. He's paying through the nose to play whatever course he's playing today in Arizona, right? So it's just it's a bit of a opposing views in the same person, which we all have. We all have that. I spend money probably a little too frivolously on things. I also like the finer things in life, but I will be caught dead at Chili's. I love it. I love Cheesecake Factory. He won't. His own child asked him, I want you to take me to Olive Garden. And he said, no.
Nope.
You can just take me and you don't have to eat.
It's a monster.
No, I'm not going. And I went, holy cow. He's just an interesting dude. So I was thinking, what could we send? The ideas we had were disgusting. Let's be honest. They were disgusting. And I don't want to put our poor Ben through that. Maybe we just let him enjoy his vacation. Unless you have any ideas.
We're open to ideas.
Put them in the chat.
We are absolutely open to ideas.
YouTube.com, search Ben and Woods. You can do that. You can tweet us at Ben and Woods as well. We're open to any suggestions.
What can we have delivered to the hotel where they would have to call his room?
Yeah.
Hi, is this Mr. Higgins?
We have your Vaseline that you ordered. This industrial size.
You can come down to the front desk.
Grab your Vaseline
Please
that's
pick
here,
this up.
sir.
That would be great.
He would kill us. He'd be so mad. I just don't want him to get his feelings hurt. I would want him to laugh. That's the risk that you have when you prank somebody. You hope they take it the right way. I don't really like to be pranked, so I can't. That's why it's hard for me to do it.
Jeffrey says in the chat, send him some Olive Garden breadsticks. Just have those delivered to him.
He would eat them. But you know why? Because he didn't pay for them. And he didn't have to go there. Yes. I'm convinced.
Diesel, no.
Yeah, what did he say? Oh, no, we can't do that. We can't do that. A singing telegram would be really funny. But I always was brought back to a bit that I heard. And we're going to get to the Reindl report in a moment. But my favorite radio station back home where I'm from, they used to go to Cowboys training camp and Rangers training camp. And the two main hosts, like the Ben and Woods of the show, shared a room at spring training. This is years and years ago. And the producer and the yuck man broke into their room and they duct taped alarm clocks, like 50 of them. And they set them for 3 minutes apart. And so these guys went to bed, midnight. And at 12:15, one went off. At 12:19, one went off. And they were all over the room. And it was, I listened to that segment.
Hiding, under the bed.
And they would you lay down and you think, okay, it's over. And it goes off.
God.
And it went on all night. And so the host was so mad. He went, he wasn't clever. He went to the store and bought a giant, bass and threw it in one of their beds. And so, like, which you walk in, you go, oh, great, it's a fish. You throw it away, you get the sheets changed, you're done. But that prank is always stuck in my head of the next level alarm clock stuff that just drove them crazy the entire night. And I went, well, we obviously can't do that from here, but, we are going to go to spring training. I think that would be fun to get him a little bit. Just a little bit.
We walked in on him in a bath
We did.
last year.
You never know what you're going to find.
We got a couple months to figure it out.
Yeah, we do.
Spring training, Ben and Wood's house.
We do. But maybe we just let the guy live. Paulie, give us some headlines from the Rindle Report, please.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Rindle Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Rindle Report with Paul Rindle.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Rindle Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a oh yeah? Oh yeah.
All right.
All right.
Already getting a lot of
I'm
good
getting
recommendations.
Holy crap, dude. One guy,
Oh,
I have to be
boy.
careful with how I say this, but so we always try to slip a toy, sex toy, into our buddy's golf bag before a golf trip. I am kicking myself.
That's genius.
He could have gone to the bathroom. I could have
the
grabbed
front pouch, the front zipper there. He goes
you
to
open,
grab
to get
a
your
golf
balls,
ball.
and there's a big old blank right there on the first tee. Now, he would have opened it at Top Golf and been like, dang it, those guys got me again. But I'm going to put that one in the back of my mind for next time.
Oh, that's really good.
That is amazing. Send Eric to the golf. There's a guy, Eric, that says he's in Scottsdale. He'll gladly prank him for us. But he said send him to the golf course, posing as the marshal, and tell him his clubs are illegal.
Oh, my God, I'm so stiff.
Oh, man, we blew it, Paulie. We blew it. All right, take us away, buddy.
Oh, we screwed that one up. All right, we will start off in Major League Baseball. Something actually happening right now on your television if you're watching MLB Network. Dusty Baker officially retired. God, that's a great suit. Yep. He is officially retired, and man, I was so happy for Dusty.
We all were,
that he won a World Series last year. Not so much for the Houston Astros.
Yeah, got his ring.
I think it was a little bit more legitimate, obviously, than 2017. But for him in particular to get that World Series, he just seems like the salt of the earth, just one of the absolute genuine good guys in baseball, and he has called it a career. Do you think he's officially done?
Yeah, I do. I think getting that ring, and then getting close to another one. But it's such a grueling lifestyle. None of us will ever know. None of us will ever really truly know what a grind being a player or a manager is. You have your ideas, but it's just constant questions from morons like us. And why'd you do this? Why didn't you do this? It's got to wear you out. It really does. It's got to wear you out after a while. And then the travel and, being a little bit up there in age. Good for him. It's been a hell of a career. He's a guy. If he did a podcast, I would listen because I just want to hear Dusty Baker tell all the baseball stories. I mean, I think that would be the obvious next step for him. Do a podcast, and I will subscribe to it. I'd love to have him on. Love to get stories from him. A true baseball man in every sense of the word. Tip my hat to you, Dusty Baker.
That scene on Friday night last week, him getting tossed.
Yeah.
I mean, he gave it to those umpires, and then not leaving the bench was
so good.
incredible. And then to see him the next day, and he's watering a plant, giving it some sun. Took it out of his office and put it on the bench to get some sun. I'm like, how could you not love Dusty Baker?
You got to. He's a trip. Congratulations. Great career. And tip my hat to you, sir.
All right, we'll move from Major League Baseball to college baseball. There was an email.
This is unreal.
Going around over the last
real?
couple of days. I don't know. It's anything like anything. You see it on social media, take it with a grain of salt. But the text was just something along the lines of, I got cut from my college baseball team, or I didn't make the team. And when I read the email, I go, this is the biggest jerk of a manager I've ever seen. So the email says, Thanks for reaching out. You are not kept past the tryout based on ability. As I mentioned at the tryout, we would only retain people if we thought they would be able to help us win games this year. We did not feel that way based on your tryout. Probably just end it there. That's pretty mean.
You're good.
But you could probably just end it right there.
Yep.
But he didn't.
Not a fit.
As for the future, your ability was very, very far away from being considered to be a part of our roster. Your fastball is around 68, 70 miles per hour.
That can't be right. That's what I throw. He can't be in college. So I get it.
Our players are usually 88 to 90 at a minimum.
My God.
Your offensive performance was equally distant from what it takes to be a part of our team. Being perfectly honest, playing college baseball is not a realistic expectation for you, especially at the Division I level.
Bro, 68 miles an hour? No.
I apologize for the bluntness, but I feel that honesty is important here. Thanks again for your interest, and I hope your classes are going well this fall.
Wouldn't you want to know? It's brutal truth, right? But sometimes brutal truth is what people need. You never want to tell somebody their dreams don't matter, but I'm not playing in the NBA. I know that. I'd rather just hear it from somebody. I don't want to spin my wheels. Felt bad when I read it. I did. But now when you read it, I go, 68 miles an hour, man, it's not going to get the job done.
Was he trying to pitch or hit?
Sounded like he was
talked about
trying
his
to pitch.
offensive capabilities as well.
Tried to do both. Shohei Ohtani-esque.
Well, I was playing MLB The Show. This Ohtani guy's great. I think I could probably do that.
68 miles an hour in Division I?
I wouldn't cut it. They barely cut it in high school.
You wouldn't cut it in an adult league, dude. 68 miles an hour is nothing. Like, bro, I'm sorry. It was harsh. I get it. But sitting somebody down and saying, hey, man, it's a colossal waste of time. Just don't waste any more time on this. Find a new dream. There's value in that as well.
All right, and finally, I saw this on Instagram the other day, a reel going around of said something like Gen Z just doesn't get it, and I go, all right, let me see what the new TikTok trend is, what's going around, and I was reluctant to even bring this up because I know how much you hate TikTok
I hate
Gen
TikTok.
Z.
I don't
and
hate Gen Z.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. You bag on Gen Z all the time. Hey, just because you figured something out doesn't mean it hasn't been around for 50 years, 100 years, forever. It's not a trend.
You don't need to give me a shower hack. I know how to wash my hair. You didn't discover, what's the latest one? It was, what do they call it? Like, it was relaxing, essentially.
Couch rotting?
Couch rotting? I'm like, I've been doing this for 25 years. You guys didn't invent laying around on a Saturday and doom scrolling your phone. You didn't.
So the video I saw was of a young girl, recent college graduate, and she is not happy with the old 9-to-5. You've seen this.
I saw it. I watched it.
All right, well, in case anybody listening has not heard it, here's the audio complaining a little bit about the old 9-to-5er.
I know I'm probably just being so dramatic and annoying, but this is my first job, like my first 9-to-5 job after college, and I'm in person, and I'm commuting in the city, and it takes me forever to get there. There's no way I'm going to be able to afford living in the city right now, so that's off the table. Like, duh! If I was able to walk to work, and it'd be fine, but I'm not. So it literally takes me, I leave here, I get on the train at 7:30, and I don't get home till 6:15 earliest, and then I don't have time to do anything. I want to shower, eat my dinner, and go to sleep. I don't have time or energy to cook my dinner either. I don't have energy to work out. That's out the window. I'm so upset. Oh my God. Nothing to do with my job at all, but just the 9-to-5 schedule in general is crazy. Being in the office 9-to-5, if it was remote, you get off at 5 and you're home and everything's fine. But I'm not home. It takes me long to get home, and people that drive to the office, you don't get off at 5. And I know it could be worse. I know I could be working longer, but I literally get off, it's pitch black, I don't have energy. How do you have friends? How do you have time to, meet, a guy? I don't know, how do you have time for, dating? I don't have time for anything, and I'm, so stressed out. And I'm also getting my period, so that's why I'm all emotional, but, am I so dramatic? It's fine.
I may surprise you here. I couldn't agree with her more.
Wow!
And I lived
really?
it. I lived it. I didn't have a phone or a social media platform to post it on, but I think everybody of my age, I'm 48.
She's probably 22, 23,
First
24.
gig, we all went through that. And I'm very sympathetic to it. Learning how to live in the real world is very difficult. I'm very sympathetic to it. This is a different type of gig. You know, obviously you're not here 8 hours. It's different. But I have done the 9 to 5, and I have done the hour-long commute. It sucks.
So your 8-hour day is at least a 10-hour day.
Yeah, it sucks. It's not ideal. It's not fun. You do feel exhausted. The commute is really what kills you. For me, at least. Sitting in traffic, driving home in a suit and tie, you know, getting home and be like, ugh.
I mean, my God, it absolutely happens. I know there's people listening right now that deal with that.
100%.
You live in South Bay, but you work in Encinitas.
Right.
Like, that's a long ass commute.
It's a long
if you need to be there by
drive.
9, good luck getting out the door before 7.
Exactly. I am very sympathetic to her. I am. And I she's not wrong. It was such a shock to me when because I still had friends in college when I graduated, right? Still had friends that are below you. And they're like, spring break. And I'm like, oh, I want to go to spring break. And I go, oh, I can't. I can't go on. I don't get a spring break anymore. That part of your life is over. And you try to burn the candle at both ends. When you first start, hey, let's go to happy hour. And then you're like, I can't do my job the next day because I've been up all night. I've been drinking. And you try to burn it at both ends for many years, and it doesn't work. And then you get to the point where you're like, this is just my life now. It's hard. I'm very sympathetic to her. I am. It sucks. I couldn't agree with her more. She's frustrated. Again, I did not have the social media platform to post on. I probably would have been like, hey, this is terrible. What did I sign up for here? Right? Like,
well, we've learned over the last couple of years, especially working from home, it's very doable.
It's very doable.
Very doable.
Very doable.
Whether it's a hybrid, like my wife works from home 3 days a week.
Yep.
She goes in Tuesdays and Wednesdays, does the commute, sits in traffic.
Sucks.
It's not great.
No.
But if you can work efficiently from home, we don't have radio studios in our house.
Right.
And quite frankly, we like being in the same room.
Yeah.
So we're definitely not in that conversation. But, bro, if all I'm doing is sitting at my desk, ripping phone calls, and
took you an hour and a half to get there, hour to get there.
I could do that from home.
No doubt.
Very efficiently.
No doubt. I did feel bad for her. I did. I may be a boomer, but I'm still a human being. You know? So it's one of those things. I saw a lot of people doing the old hey, welcome to the real world. Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. But it's an adjustment period. She's throwing it out there of like, this sucks. I didn't really you don't realize it until you've lived it, until you've
get
done
that first job out of college, the first real job, and you're like, this is going to be awesome.
It's not awesome. It's not. And I salute her, and I hope it works out well for her.
You start work at 8, you're out the door at 6:45.
Yeah, dude,
you don't
it's
get
different.
home until you get off at 4, but you don't get home until 5:30, 6 o'clock.
She's not getting off at 4. She's getting off at 5. You know, and then driving home till 6:37. It's tough. It's tough. I'm sympathetic to that young lady. I hope it gets better for her. Holy cow, that was great. That was great. I'm glad I surprised you. We got some football tonight. Our football threesome is coming up next. Let's get sexy on Ben and Woods next.
Can Ben and Woods interest you in a threesome?
A threesome would be fun.
Oh, not that kind of threesome.
Dang it!
We're talking end-arounds, the best tight ends in the world.
He must work out.
And going all the way in this game of inches.
Nice.
It's the NFL Threesome with Ben and Woods. Brought to you by Hamul Casino. Fun above all else on 97.3 The Fan.
Personal foul, 69, offense. He was giving them the business.
It's best intro in radio right there, my friends. Tune in to Kickoff with Boomer Esiason and Mike Valenti. Every week, Boomer and Valenti preview the entire slate of NFL games. Analysis from Boomer, picks from Mike, the biggest stories in the league, packed into an hour. Friday night, 6 p.m. here on 97.3 The Fan. And as always, live on the free Odyssey app, presented nationally by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos, brought to you by those who drink it and by Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement. And I think let's start in the NFL with, probably there's no sport really where it's more of a war of attrition. Who can stay the healthiest throughout the course of a long, grueling, punishing NFL schedule. And the San Francisco 49ers, who honestly look like they were galloping toward the Super Bowl there, they've had some hard times, as they do, as most teams do. This is a bit of a surprise to Kyle Shanahan and the rest of the Niners, but Brock Purdy has now entered into the concussion protocol, Ben. They announced Wednesday that he's in the protocol. He played all of Monday night's game. They're not really sure when the hit occurred, but he started showing symptoms on the plane. Shanahan said, we finally found out when we landed. We were all pretty asleep. Then he got all checked up yesterday. Now he's in the protocol. So they're unsure, again, when it happened, but they're prepared to move forward with backup quarterback Sam Darnold at the helm. Not what 49er fans want by any stretch of the imagination. So, we'll see. Already lost to the Vikings on Monday. We'll see how it turns out for them. But, yeah, they got to make sure he's cleared before they put him back out there. Crazy he played the whole game, and they don't know when it happened. So that's the one of the many dangers of the NFL. But he'll be back, and we'll see how he plays.
All right, we got Thursday night football tonight.
Do we?
We do. No baseball. You going to be watching Thursday night?
I don't think I have a choice at this point. Who's playing?
Well, you got TNT basketball.
Okay.
You got the doubleheader. I always sell it just because of the broadcast on TNT. The TNT doubleheader is elite with those guys. But tonight in the NFL, you've got the 4-3 Buffalo Bills hosting a very interesting team in the 3-3 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield has surprised a lot of people this year.
Josh Allen has surprised a lot of people with how inconsistent. I think I've lost every time I've put money on the Bills.
I have no idea who the Bills are this year.
No one does. And you look at them and you look at that. What's the line on the game? Do you know the spread?
Buffalo's favored by 9.5.
There's no way. They were favored by 12 or something last week, or maybe even more. And, it just depends on if you get good Josh Allen or bad Josh Allen. We had bad Josh Allen last week. And
they're such a screwy team to bet on.
They're an enigma.
I look at that and I go, I'm taking Buffalo. I'm taking the Bucks and 9.5.
Yeah,
but
take that.
Would it surprise you at all? No. You turn it on if you miss the first 10 minutes and all of a sudden it's 21-0 and Josh Allen is slinging it all over the field. You're like, idiot. Of course he is. Because we've seen this before, but we haven't really seen it this year.
Just very, very inconsistent, maddening type team to watch, and certainly to make a wager on. So that's tonight. Where's the game? In
Buffalo.
In Buffalo. Okay, Buffalo against Tampa Bay. We will have all of the thoughts and opinions on that game tomorrow.
I've already picked them in my Survivor pool, so luckily I don't have to worry about Buffalo. I picked them on a good week because it's been terrible all year long with Buffalo.
Well, this year Survivor pool with so many middling teams, like all hovering around 500. Again, you never. It's just gotten harder to bet on the NFL. The injuries, the injury reports are now, Bijan Robinson last week,
they've gotten through 7 weeks so far. If you're still alive in a Survivor pool,
you're a legend.
So you've gotten through. You've probably already picked the Dolphins, the Eagles.
Some people have lost twice already in two different Survivor, with two of the same Survivor picks that you were allowed to get back in on. Some of us have lost twice. I'm out. Who are you picking?
So I was looking for week 8, and on Yahoo Sports, they have the pick distribution on the side where you can look at all of the people that have picked their selections already and kind of see the percentage. Like, only 1% has picked the New York Jets to win their game this week against the Giants. Why would anyone pick that game? I don't know. Like, both teams are terrible. The number one most picked team would be the Ben's Los Angeles Chargers.
Yes.
And let's see, who do they got this week?
His beloved.
They're on Sunday night hosting the Chicago Bears. Probably.
I feel like that's a good one.
You think so, but it's prime time. It's Chargers.
Yeah.
I don't think that's anything like a lock. But 35% of people have picked that. I went with the second most popular pick, and that was the Baltimore Ravens. I took them on Sunday to take down the 1-6 Arizona Cardinals. It's in Arizona, but I'll still take Baltimore.
All right. I like that pick. That is your NFL football threesome here on Ben and Woods. We've got one segment left. Would love to hear from the Tier 1. Should we do some topic wheel as well?
We can do some Tier 1 topic wheel.
Do some topic wheel. If you want to talk Padres, we can. We got, like I said, one segment left. Thanks for being here today with Ben being out. It's been a fun show. Been an interesting show. Loved talking to Major Garrett today. Loved talking to Eno Saris. If you missed those, go back and listen. Certainly, the Rewind feature on the Odyssey app. Go back. We podcasted as well. But yeah, really, really good insight from both of those guys. And we can talk about, the next step forward. And interviews going on at Petco Park, probably as we speak. They may not have Ben and Woods on this morning because they're interviewing. Today is Mike Schilt, I do believe. So we will know something here in the next week or so who the new manager, San Diego Padres, is. If you want to weigh in, please do. 833-288-0973. Also going to spin the topic wheel, have some fun before we get out of here. Be right back. Love this tweet we just got, Paulie, from Mr. Chexman on Twitter. Says, I listening to Ben and Woods this morning. When they bring up the lady crying about 9 to 5s, was ready to hear a terrible take from some old guys. But I couldn't be more wrong. Genuinely ashamed of my assumptions. You guys rule. Solidarity forever. Yeah, I think that's an easy, if you missed it, Paulie played the audio. I mean, there's another tweet that said, why does she have to say like every other word? Okay, that one I'll get behind. Right? Like. I can get behind that one. That being said, she's not wrong. She's not wrong. It's her first job. She's going through an adjustment period and trying to. I saw the sweetest thing on Twitter maybe that I've ever seen, and I think somebody had called it into attention. Somebody had never been into a sandwich shop before.
Like a deli.
A deli. Did you see this? Somebody tweeted, hey, I've never been into a deli, like a Jersey Mike's before. How do I do it? And instead of roasting them, this very kind person walked them through it and said, so here's what you do. You'll walk in, you'll see the order here sign, you will go up, you will look at the menu, you will decide what you want, you'll give them the number, you'll tell them what kind of bread you want, white, wheat, Parmesan, whatever it is. Then they'll cut your meat and walk them through it. And I went, would have been so easy to just go, what are you, an idiot? You've never been to a sandwich shop? Grow up, moron. And it just struck me as so kind. And this person was like, I cannot thank you enough for walking me through this. You know, the thing I think a lot of us forget, too, about me, especially the younger generation. I'm only 48. You know, I'm not a dead man yet. They dealt with a lot more stuff than my generation did. A lot. My parents got to send me to school every day, pretty much guaranteeing I would come home. Right? Every day. Right. Never worried that I wasn't coming home. From elementary school through high school. Yeah, they worried that I was going to do stupid stuff. Different world. Pandemic. The whole thing. They've been through a lot, man. That, you know, a lot of people didn't get to do a lot of the things that we all got to do. So I try to keep that in mind as I respond to things like that. Are there things about that generation, the younger generation, that make me insane? Sure. But there are also things about my generation that make me insane as well. My generation and older generations, it's always like, well, I had it hard, so you have to have it hard too. I don't think that's the best way through this thing called life. So I appreciate the tweet, Mr. Chexman. I'm glad we are able to surprise you from time to time. Paul, anybody online want to talk some Padres baseball? Or are they calling for Tier 1 topic wheel? Ben and I love to throw out two different reasons to call.
Yeah,
and then we get to discern what they want when they're on the phone. Who do we have?
Let's start with Jed.
Jed, good morning, my friend. How you doing, buddy?
Good morning, boys. How you guys doing?
Doing great, man. What's shaking? What did you want to talk about? Padres?
Honestly, I'm down to talk to you guys about anything. We can do a topic wheel or we can do the Padres, but I do have one question for you guys.
Sure.
With all this Bob Melvin stuff transpiring, AJ Preller still staying, what do you think the players, especially the main core, do you think they're like, oh, God, we lost the wrong guy and the problems? Like, what do you think the vibe of the ball players is after the news yesterday?
You know what's funny? I wish I knew. I really do. That's something that's fascinating to me, too. I got to imagine there are people that are bummed, and then I bet you there are people that don't care, that are indifferent. Like, it's not going to change my preparation. It's not going to change my day-to-day. And then there could be people that are happy about it, you know? It just, you know, I would think Matt Carpenter's probably pretty happy that Bob Melvin's gone.
Or mad.
Mad.
Now he's like, oh, God, I just got to convince another manager to play me this
Yeah,
time.
exactly. So I don't know the answer to that question, man. My gut tells me and logic tells me that the guys that have been here for a while, you know, the Tatises, the Mannies, there's probably some eye rolling that went on. I would imagine like, oh, well, here we go again, you know, and you'll hear some comments. One thing that's been clear all year long, and one thing that we've talked about on this show, Jed, is that I don't really think our players said the best stuff this year. I don't think in public to the media, I didn't hear my favorite stuff this year. This has not been my favorite year of Padres players quotations. If I'm being completely honest with you, a lot of stuff I didn't like, a lot of stuff that rubbed me the wrong way. It is what it is. They're not politicians. That's not what they're paid to do. They're paid to win baseball games. They didn't do that either. So I mean, it's been tough.
So AJ Preller was asked, how do the players that he's spoken to feel about everything that's gone on over the last few weeks?
So he did reach out to some, and
here's
talk
what
to
AJ
some.
had to say.
Yeah, I think like most guys, I've talked to probably 6 or 7 players and try to touch base with others on the roster in the next few days. I think most guys' feeling is like, hey, they're looking for, again, I think they view this as a great situation. It's a great city. They love playing here. I think they feel really, really positive about the organization and the resources that are here. Obviously, Peter and our baseball ops team. And I think from our player standpoint, their response has been they're hungry to make sure that we get back to the playoffs next year. I think they know what we're capable of doing, and I think that's their focus, is go have a great off season. I think there's a trust there that we're going to hire a really good manager, and I think there's a belief for our players that I can feel it, that they're excited about the off season and getting this thing right, and getting back into postseason baseball. That's been the biggest thing I've heard from our guys.
So yeah, that makes sense to me. I can't imagine that you make those moves without consulting. As Adam Jones told us yesterday too, you have to consult your superstars, the guys that are going to be here for a long time, on your next managerial hire. I've heard differing accounts of what people think about certain candidates that are interviewing today and tomorrow. I've heard, I don't know. I'm not in the room. I've heard guys like Schilt. I've heard guys don't. I've heard guys like Flaherty. I've heard guys don't. I don't. There's no way to discern really what the truth is. And like AJ said yesterday, Adam Jones, 26 guys agreeing on the move is not going to happen. You're not going to get that. So hey, let's check traffic real quick. We can talk more about that. Take some more phone calls. Wrap it up and get out of here.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Just a couple problems wrapping up our morning drive in the North County, westbound 56 past Rancho Penasquitos, crash in the center divide in the clearing stage. Also going to find westbound 8 at the 163. Accident has been moved over to the right shoulder. Traveling on westbound King Freeway just before College, watch out for some plywood reported in middle lanes. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, back out to the phones. Our pal Eric just called us, and he is currently in Scottsdale, Arizona. Good morning, Eric.
Morning, guys.
How you doing?
Good. Ready to pull a prank if you guys are ready.
God, what can we do?
All right, it's go time.
What can we do? What can we do? How do we get the big guy? Somebody's going to tip him off.
I know.
Somebody's going to listen and tip him off.
His mom's listening right
His
now.
mom's listening. She's like, be nice to Ben. All right,
Ben, don't go out to your car after your
Don't go
golf
to your
round.
car. Eric has keyed your rental. No, Ben has his real car there. Eric's drawn a wiener on the hood of your car with shoe polish. These are all suggestions. I love that you are willing and able to do that for us and to our beloved leader Ben. But no, let's let him slide today. Did you want to mention talk about Padres too, or just wanted to prank Ben?
Oh, I wanted to prank Ben, but I thought I could do the topic wheel too.
Oh, let's do topic wheel it up. I'm
I
down.
like it.
I'm down. I love it.
All right, Eric.
Wish it was a prank wheel, and whatever it landed on, you would do. I really like the idea of the sex toy in Ben's golf bag the next trip. It's so good.
All right, Eric. Let's see how weird you are. Would you rather be invisible or have the ability to read minds?
Oh, no.
I would rather be invisible.
Same,
I don't
dude.
think I want to know what everybody's thinking.
God, no.
Creeps.
Oh, yeah, creep, 100%. And
Unfortunately, that's the right answer.
I
though,
would
think.
use it to see nude people, women. I would. That's what I would use it for, right? We all would. Every man out there is using his invisibility to, the Playboy Mansion doesn't exist anymore, but if it did,
That's where you're going.
that's where I'm going.
Just hop the fence. Nobody can see.
If you looked at somebody and you could read their mind, you'd have a miserable life.
Oh, God,
your
that'd be
wife,
awful.
anybody, your parents, like your kids. It would be some good.
Like, I already know. My wife just has to give me the look, and I know I'm in trouble.
You know you're
I
dead.
know I pissed her off. I don't want to know exactly what she's thinking about me at the time.
Like, if we all knew how much our wives are literally repulsed by us. Repulsed. Not just he's on my nerves. Like, he's repulsive. I don't know that we would want to stay married to them. Right? We would be, if you had that power, and you're like, If she didn't know you had it, at one point you just go to her and go, I know what you're thinking. We're not staying married. You hate me. Like, I'm disgusting to you, clearly, because I can read your mind. And I know that you're disgusted with everything I do. I get on my wife's nerves, Paulie, the likes of which you've never seen. It's hard.
You get on her
hard.
nerves?
I'm pretty easy. Just don't grind me down. Don't beat me down, and I'm good to go. Right? But man, do I everything I do. My shoes are in the wrong place. I don't load the dishwasher right. Everything I do is wrong. It's tough. It's tough. Now, if I could read her mind, don't know that we'd be together. Right? I don't think we would.
Then you could just do what she wants you to do.
I mean, I guess, but I try that, and it's still not
Tim
right.
in the YouTube chat says he would read minds.
Well, reading minds would be great.
And then hit the poker tables.
Hit the poker tables. Oh, God, that's genius.
That is next level.
What if you're invisible and you just go grab chips?
I guess you could do that.
Run away. So,
hey, where's my chips?
We got anybody else want to spin the topic wheel? You can give us a call. Gas station D Pill says I have a gold medal for pissing off my wife. I've mastered the art. I try. Vito says his wife, he doesn't do anything correctly either. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard sometimes.
Do any guys do anything correctly?
I think so. There's some out there. I do feel like there are men that are appreciated by their wives. Maybe they're not in this room, but it does happen. I feel like you're appreciated by your wife. Megan appreciates you.
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying, I know.
Well, I promise you repulse her, too. Like, it happens.
Oh, of course. But it's more like if we're not even in an argument per se, but kind of debating something, and I can tell, I'm like, I'm wearing her down right now. She does not like me very much in this moment. I don't need to know exactly what she's thinking.
That's exactly right. 833-288-0973 is our phone number.
Vito also had a question getting back to baseball. He said, Woodsy and Paul, what are the odds of AJ pulling Skip away from Miami?
I'm assuming, Skip
keep seeing his name. People keep throwing his name out there.
Yeah. He is under contract there for one more year. The reports are out there of pretty not super satisfied with the Kim Ng move, letting her walk. I don't know that they're a package deal and will go together forever for the rest of their lives, but I do know that probably stung him a little bit and took an ally away from him, I would imagine. So I don't know. I know that he lives in California. He lives in Orange County, so any chance to get back close to there would probably be great for him. I haven't talked to him about it. I don't know, what his plans are. As far as I'm concerned, he's probably going to be the manager of the Marlins next year. He's got a year left on his deal, but
we've heard that.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm feeling on that. Megan does say that you discussed her with your sneezing.
That's funny.
And she says
from somebody that sneezes 12 times in a row when they do sneeze.
And then says, and he scrapes a bowl.
You think someone's dying in the other room. It's just Megan sneezing, but okay.
He said, and she said, when you scrape the bowl with a spoon, I told you, you repulse her.
I know.
That it happens. It happens.
I don't know how else to finish off whatever I'm eating in a bowl.
What is wrong with your sneezes?
Probably too loud.
Loud?
Yeah.
She sneezes 10 times in a row?
Yeah.
That's so annoying. Hannah gets the hiccups, and I don't know why it enrages me, but it does. They're loud.
I get
Please
the hiccups,
fix
so
it.
I hope that doesn't bother me. I hope it doesn't bother
Please
her.
fix it. I'm begging you. And it's loud, and they last for hours, laying in bed. The other thing she does, she's not listening right now. She's at Disneyland with Bo, so you know what she does, Paulie? She will not use headphones. Refuses to use headphones. So she's walking around with her phone, watching My 600-Pound Life or one of those shows with the volume on her iPhone as loud as it can go. And I go, I'm begging you to put headphones. No, my ear canals are too small. They don't fit. Get some headphones like this. Put those on.
Yeah.
I go, I don't want to hear this as I'm trying to do this or watch a game or we're watching a show. And she carries it around with her everywhere she goes. And that's all you hear is one of those shows in the background, max volume on the iPhone. Max refuses to use headphones. She just won't do it. And I looked at her, I go, that's next level. You are next level. And that's probably my only annoyance with her. Really, that's like the one thing I would change about her. 833-288-0973.
Do you want to just spin the topic with?
Yeah, let's spin it.
All right.
I'm down.
I don't need a caller.
Couple more minutes. Yeah. Put your headphones in. For the love of God.
Love you, babe. Oh my God, I'm so glad that this one came up. Woodsy.
Yeah.
Would you rather, forever, would you rather talk like Yoda or breathe like Darth Vader?
Talk like Yoda, I will. Forever. My kids love it. You couldn't work here anymore.
all day. That's how you breathe.
I've already been told I'm a heavy breather on the air. So you see me manipulating the mic. I do this.
Yeah.
Because of that. It's Yoda. It's Yoda 100%. Nobody wants to hear for the rest of your life. What if your spouse breathed like Darth Vader for the rest of your life?
See you later.
But then again, what if your spouse talked like Yoda? Be the worst thing of all time. Make love to me, you will. Never mind. I'm good. I'll pass on it. Good.
It's like perfect in every way.
Yeah.
But she talks like Yoda.
Yeah. French kiss me, you will. Nope.
Do
Not
the
doing
dishes, you must.
Pass. Pass on all of it.
Oh, my God.
Neither. One more time, and let's get out of here.
One more?
One more. We got time.
Who is one person that changed your life, but they don't know that they did?
It's deep, dude. You may have to sleep on that one. I'm not kidding. That's...
Yeah,
That's very deep.
Change your life. I mean, didn't know they did it. We'll have an answer for you in foreplay tomorrow, 6 a.m.
6 a.m.
Right here on
Seriously,
97.3
I'm going to think about it. Somebody in the
One
chat
person
said
that changed your life.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. There you go. There you go.
I wonder if there's a story there.
I would like to hear it. Yeah, we are done for the day. I will sleep on that. I will sleep on that question. I like that one a lot. I like the deep, thought-provoking questions, and that's a good
Try
one.
to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah,
Topic wheel.
What do we have tomorrow, Paulie? Tomorrow's Friday. It's going to be loose. It's going to be fun. May check in with Ben, see how he's doing, but may just let him be. We'll see. We'll see how the rest of the day goes.
Yeah, tomorrow we'll let you know.
All right, tomorrow should be a banger. Right now, probably.
I mean, with the way this week has gone, it's been tough to plan more than a day in advance.
True.
Honestly.
Well,
There's been so much news happening. What does today hold in store for us? We have some ideas, though, some things in the hopper that we're trying to lock down for tomorrow.
We had a really good guest booked, and then he canceled, but he will be next week.
Yeah.
Johnny says, Woods not saying Bo is insane. Bro, he knows he changed my life. I tell him every single day that he saved my life. So he knows. It's somebody that doesn't know. Loogie says a stripper changed my life. All right, that'll do it. That will do it. That'll do it for us. We will get out of here. Leave you guys. Braden and Coach coming up next. They'll have their thoughts. Bob Melvin, AJ Preller, and all that entails right here on the home of the San Diego Padres. 97.3 The Fan. Love you.